This is going to be, it's a lot of fun. I enjoy doing these late night broadcasts, and I'm glad that people also enjoy being here for these late night. Late night, it's 9 o'clock. Well, last night was ridiculous. Last night, I don't know who they think they are, those Democrats. I don't know who they think they are that they're all excited about, staying up past everyone's bedtime. Oh, listen, here's my promise to you tonight. Ready? Obama, Shmama. I am not staying up past midnight tonight. I don't care what former president and his wife / boyfriend are speaking. I am not staying up. I am not staying up past midnight. It was way too late. Here's the problem about staying up till midnight and it was really closer to 12:30. The problem with staying up till midnight is that you still have to get up at the same time the next day. I didn't have to, it's not like you can sleep in. It was a Tuesday. I was like, I got stuff I have to do. This is though I got to wake up, make breakfast for the kids, all that other jazz. And tomorrow's the same day. Tomorrow I got to wake up even earlier. So no more midnight 30. If it's 11:15, fine. 11:20, okay. But we are not going into Wednesday on this live broadcast. I promise you that right now. And I know that the Democrats, they learned their lesson. They heard everybody was complaining. If you heard the show today, you know that everybody was complaining about it. I'll play you this clip again because I love it.
The old lion's last roar.
It was a long roar.
Yeah, but it was beautiful. But listen, I wish it had been shorter. I wish it had been earlier.
That's exactly right. Shorter and earlier. Message received, BT Dubs. Sorry, Keith. Message received. I am pretty sure that the Democrat National Convention or the Democrat National Committee, they got the message loud and clear from the networks. The networks will pull the plug. They know that they hold all the cards. Listen, what they're doing is they're giving them 4 days of primetime television. They're giving them 4 days of primetime coverage of this event. And this is, for the news stations and everything else, that's great. But they will pull the plug on this thing if they don't play by the rules. And staying up till 12:30, keeping their anchors up till 12:30 for Joe Biden. Really, it wasn't even Joe Biden, right? Because we all know, we were all waiting for Joe Biden here. I'll pull up what's going on right now. I can't play, where's the other one? I pulled up the DNC feed. Here it is. So this is the actual DNC feed. Yesterday, I didn't want to watch CNN because, I just can't. I just can't bring myself to do it. So I pulled up the actual DNC feed tonight so we can watch all these. They're really bizarre people. They're doing the roll call vote right now where they go through. Oh, they should be done, right? Wyoming, is that the last state? Alphabetically, fantastic. We turned in right at this, the right timing. Perfect. They're all done. So they're wrapping up. Oh, they have to go back to Minnesota. Minnesota passed. This is what they do. Minnesota passed because they wanted to be the last. It's stupid. So they passed, because that's where Tim Walz is from. So they passed, and now they're going to come in and they're going to give their votes for Tim Walz. I can't play any of the audio, though, because they have this DJ, and the DJ is playing songs for every single state. So, for example, when it was Kansas, they played Kansas. They played the band Kansas. I think they played American Band. And then when it was Michigan, they played Eminem in the background, palms sweaty, knees weak, palms are sweaty. Wait, I already said sweaty palms. And you know the thing. So they play, but the music is all copyrighted, so I'm not going to play any of it. But what they did was they went through and they all did their delegates, and she got the delegates now. The delegates that were supposed to go to Joe Biden, and now it's cha-ching, it's Kamala Harris. She's officially going to be the nominee for president in November. Good news, though. It looks like the DNC is not doing her any favors. I don't know if it's because they stayed up late. I don't know if it's because of the protests. I don't know if it's because of any of that. But I want to show you this real quick. This is the Poly market. And yesterday, this had Donald Trump down. It was 49% to 51% or something like that. Now it's back up to Donald Trump. He's up 2 percentage points on the Poly market election forecast. And Poly market is this is like the betting. This is where they go and they get all the, all the actuaries are cranking out all the information, and they're getting everything together, and they're trying to, wait, Kansas doesn't sing American Band. What am I thinking? Right. What's the one I'm thinking of? Anyway, they played some Kansas song, American something. Kansas plays American something. It doesn't matter. I'm not a rock guy, clearly. But look, the betting markets are back in Donald Trump's favor. And this was after the first night of the DNC. So clearly the DNC is not doing it for Kamala Harris. I mean, not really doing it for me either. I'm not really Not really into this kind of stuff, but it should be a little more, what's going on here? It should be a little more interesting tonight because we have, wait a minute, where is my super suit? There it is. It should be a little more interesting tonight because we have Michelle Obama, Barack Obama. Who else is speaking tonight? Doug Emhoff, supposedly, Governor J.B. Pritzker. So the speeches should start here momentarily. And then once the speeches are going or once the speeches are all wrapped up, we'll all go to bed. But I think the message was sent out loud and clear. I think, when you have CNN complaining that they're sick and tired of Democrats, that's when when CNN's like, we can't take these Democrats anymore, that's when you got a real problem. Wait, where's my Van Jones?
I wish it had been shorter. I wish it had been earlier.
We all never before has Van Jones wished it to be shorter. I'm sorry. I couldn't resist. Anyway, so we'll get to that here in just a minute. We'll bring the speeches as they pop up. Let's go back to, oh my gosh, it's Gavin Newsom. Let's get off of that. Let's go back to the actual feed there it is. And we'll watch the actual feed of the Democrats. These people are lunatics, by the way. These people, I'm going to reload this. These people are crazy. I was watching some of them as they announced in Kansas. She had no idea. She's like, just kept screaming, I can't hear. In New Jersey, they had somebody who was a transvestite. Oh, it's Nancy Pelosi. Oh my God. It's all of them. So California, I guess, went last because it's Kamala Harris. But it was Nancy Pelosi and Maxine Waters is there and Gavin Newsom. It's just horrible. It's just, Nancy Pelosi, it looks like Nancy Pelosi is holding up the pole, but really she might pass out. She's got to hold herself up. It's like on the subway. That is just such a conglomeration of whack jobs. Look at that. Maxine Waters, Gavin Newsom, Nancy Pelosi. Who is that in the background? Is that Villalobos or whatever his name is from LA? Oh, I just can't. I'm kind of glad I'm not there. I keep saying that. I keep telling, I watch these videos and I watch like some of the man on the street stuff and I watch some of the other guys who were there and I'm like, oh man, maybe I should have gone. But then I see these kind of people and I see this kind of stuff and I'm like, no, you know what? I'm actually kind of glad. I'm not privy. I'm not part of this whole, I'm glad I'm persona non grata at the DNC this year. But look, it'll be an interesting show today. There's a couple of things I wanted to mention, and I thought about this on the way. I was driving home I'm picking up my daughter from school, and I was driving back, and I was thinking about it. I was like, the protests this year is very interesting. There's always protests. There's always protests every single year, and Fox News is showing the protests. Let's go back to Fox News for 1 second. Fox News is showing the protests right now. So there's always protests at the DNC. RNC, not so much. We had a handful. We had a smattering. There was a smattering of protesters at the RNC. Most of the time it was peaceful. I tried to go out and look for protesters, couldn't find them. Even in 2016. In 2016, the RNC was in Cleveland, Ohio, and they had protesters, but they organized them very well. You had the main area where all the delegates were, where all the politicians were, where all the media was. And then outside of the perimeter, they had a park. This lovely little park in downtown Cleveland. And they said to the protesters, you guys go hang out there. I have video of it. I should probably pull the videos. Tomorrow night I'll have the videos. I'll pull the videos tomorrow and I'll play them tomorrow night because it was actually kind of interesting, but all the protesters hung out in this park. And so I would go to the park and I would interview the protesters and I'd talk to them. And there were all kinds of various different whack jobs there, but they were congregated in this little park area. In Wisconsin, in Milwaukee, I went around looking for them. I couldn't even find them. I didn't see that there were that many. I didn't see that there were really any protesters. So it kind of, I kind of just went on my merry way. But now you see the protesters everywhere. These protesters they're popping up all over the place. You've got protesters that are knocking down the barricades. You can see them now on Fox News. They're all over the street. And it seems like either they're overrun with protesters or they weren't prepared or they didn't have any kind of designated area for the protesters. And if that's the case, that was a big mistake. But it always happens at the DNC, more so, I would say, than the RNC. When I went to the DNC in Philadelphia in 2016, case in point, it was the separation or the faction, the split between the party was between Hillary Clinton and Bernie Sanders. And Bernie Sanders, I guess all the Bernie bros they were mad, man. There was a large portion of the Democrat Party, and this is something that they haven't learned. They haven't learned their lesson. There was a large faction in the Democrat Party that did not like Kamala Harris. I'm sorry, that did not like Hillary Clinton. They wanted Bernie Sanders. They wanted Bernie Sanders bad. When Hillary Clinton got the nomination, and she had, remember the whole thing with the superdelegates, how she got the nomination and she got all the superdelegates, and Bernie didn't even really seem to have a chance. Well, when that happened, there was mayhem. And the Bernie Sanders supporters had a huge rally across from the museum in Philadelphia, and they crashed the floor. They crashed while they were doing the roll call vote. All of a sudden, the Bernie Sanders supporters roll in, and they started crashing. And some of the states that really wanted Bernie Sanders as well, I don't know if Vermont was one of them, but they started making speeches, and they refused to give their delegates to Hillary, and it was a mess. It was not a happy time for the Democrats. There's always some kind of split. This time around, the split is, of course, between the pro-Palestinian faction and the pro-Israeli faction, or the pro-Israel faction. And I wouldn't be surprised if if these protesters almost called them terrorists. I wonder how I could ever make that mistake. Oopsie, Freudian slip. These protesters, I imagine, will sometime in the near future make their way into the arena and make their way onto the stage and cause some kind of mayhem, because that's what they do. They're not just there. Listen, they're not just there to hang out outside and break stuff. I mean, a lot of them are, but they want to make a statement. They want to go. They want in. They want in. They want to make a statement. They want to make a ruckus. They want to cause mayhem. They want to get on TV. They want to do all that kind of stuff. That's how they roll. And that's how they know that they're getting, somewhere. So anyway, we'll be watching for that, and we'll see if that happens. That should happen sometime. I imagine it'll happen sometime during this week. We have tonight, we have tomorrow night, and we have the night after. They're smart too. They know exactly when to hit. The Bernie brothers, the Bernie bros, they've been doing this for a long time. And the thing about the Bernie Sanders supporters is, I have to imagine there's a lot of crossover. Because Kamala Harris, Hillary Clinton, they all come from the same deep state operation. They all come from the inner circle of elite Democrats who've been around forever. Joe Biden, we know, has been there since the 70s. Bill Clinton and Hillary have been there since like the 80s, 90s. Obama, they're the new kids on the block, but they're still, right now, they're kind of old hat at this. They've been doing it for long enough. And this whole power contingent of Democrats that you have running everything, they're the same. And Bernie's an outsider, and Bernie was never going to make it. And Bernie, lucky for him, didn't have too many scruples. He had scruples enough to get the support of these liberals, of these socialists. He had no problem going to the far left and pledging support for all these things like healthcare for all and socialism and guaranteed minimum wage, all this other stuff. He had no problem with any of that. But what he did have a problem with was turning down money when he was offered. So when the money came rolling in, he went ahead and he accepted it, and that's why he has several houses now. That's why he's rich. Excuse me. And that's why he has. Well, he's not the president of the United States. It looks like Anna Navarro from The View. Is that her? Is speaking right now.
They put their unqualified relatives in cushy government jobs
they
can get rich of their positions, like the Castros do in Cuba.
Wait a minute, weren't they already rich?
They refuse to accept legitimate elections when they lose and call for violence to stay in power.
I don't remember calls for violence.
Is doing right now.
Oh, this is
in
exciting.
Venezuela. Now you tell me something. Do any of those things sound familiar?
We're starting with a bang tonight. We're starting with a caliente firecracker.
Is there anybody running for president who reminds you of that?
Joe Biden. Oh, no, wait, he's not running anymore.
And I know one thing. It's not Kamala Harris.
Oh, I got it wrong again.
That is not the America we love.
That was going to be my next guess, was Kamala Harris.
We treasure. Last night, we heard President Biden say that he loves his job, but he loves his country more. Every American needs to love our country more.
Right.
Every
Let's start with you.
American has the duty to put our country first. Country first before party. Country first before political ambition. Country first before habit. And in this election, putting country first means one thing and one thing only.
What's that?
Voting for Kamala Harris.
Come on. By the way,
that is what this night is about. That is what we're going to talk about tonight. So you know what? Let's get it started.
Oh, here we go.
Let's get this fiesta going.
Oh, let's get the fiesta going. See, we're trying to get the Latino vote. First it was the Doritos. Now it's Anna
The ayes
Navarro.
are 50, the nays are 50. The Senate being equally divided, the Vice President votes in the affirmative, and the nomination is confirmed.
Hold on, this may be copyrighted music, so I'm going to go ahead and pause it. I wanted to send a special thank you, by the way, to everybody who's watching. If you're watching, God bless you. Thank you for being here tonight. I know this is like the second time today that you're seeing me, and for some of you, it's like the fourth time this week, which is exciting. But I wanted to thank. We're already getting some Rumble rants coming in, which we appreciate. Sarah S212. Is that Sarah Sanchez? Sarah S212, $5 on the Rumble rant. We appreciate that very much. Hello, Mark. God bless all Patriots and the U.S. in November. Trump 2024. God bless you, Mark. And thank you, because I sneezed. I don't know. I got a little snotty there, so I had to. But I appreciate that. Thank you very much, Sarah. That is very nice. Here, I'm going to put it back on me. Oh, wait, someone else is coming out. Let's see who's coming out.
Please welcome Senate Majority Leader and New York Senator Chuck Schumer.
Anyway, thank you, Sarah. Rumble rants will be read aloud by your host tonight, as will all of the YouTube super chats. We will be doing live readings of all of those all through the night tonight. So, why is he dancing like that? Why is he doing this?
Everybody, wasn't that a great roll call?
All right, fine, maybe. I don't know.
Now just let me hear you if you're ready for President Kamala Harris. Friends, we're here to talk about one thing tomorrow.
Oh, okay, good.
And building a better tomorrow for all Americans. This
Except
November, we
the
can choose
Republicans.
a brighter, a fairer, a freer future. Or we can relive the dark night of Trump's American carnage.
Oh my God.
Only one
Trump's
candidate
American
will move America
Carnage.
forward.
That's a great
Kamala
band name, by the
Harris.
way. Trump's American Carnage, great band name. I love that.
Vice President Harris has been the best partner Senate Democrats could ever have asked for.
She did everything we told her.
Under her and President Biden's leadership, Senate Democrats lowered prescription drug prices.
We were able to pull all the
and
strings
created
like Pinocchio.
Millions of good-paying American jobs.
She didn't even question it. She just said, "How should I vote?"
worked
And we
with
told
Kamala
her,
Harris when she
"Yay
was
or
Senator Harris.
nay."
I saw a leader who was fearless, who stood up for middle-class families like the one she was raised in, who focused on things that really mattered.
Like abortion.
Helping parents raise their kids.
Or abortion.
Safe neighborhoods.
An abortion.
Safe schools.
Don't forget abortion.
And building an opportunity economy that gives everyone a shot at the American dream.
And let's not forget abortion.
She will lead America forward into a brighter future, but she can't do it alone. She needs a Democratic majority in the Senate of the United States.
Abortion.
Now, my friends, two years ago, the naysayers said Senate Democrats stood no chance in the midterms.
I remember that. I was one of them.
Just you wait. We're going to keep the Senate and maybe pick up a seat or two. And that's exactly what happened.
John Fetterwoman.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, my good friends at this convention, I am telling all of you now, we're going to hold the Senate again, and we're poised to pick up seats.
No, you are not. What seats are you picking up? You're not holding it. You're losing it. Nobody thinks you're going to win the
Democratic majority
Senate.
to create good-paying jobs and lower costs.
They got the good drugs
to
at the DNC.
defend a
clearly.
woman's right to choose.
Abortion. See, I told you.
To deliver for communities back home. Our senators are doing it, like Jackie Rosen, delivering high-speed rail for Nevada. John Tester, bringing high-check jobs to Montana.
Not for long, dude. John Tester's the first one to go.
Casey and Sherrod Brown and Tammy Baldwin and Martin Heinrich
and
fixing bridges in Pennsylvania,
Sherrod
and
Brown
Ohio,
is going to be gone.
and Wisconsin and New Mexico.
You're going to lose a lot of those seats. That's okay though, because you know what? You have to
have amazing candidates.
You have to have hope.
Ruben Gallego, Angela Also Brooks, Andy Kim, Alyssa Slotkin, Lisa Blunt, Rochester, Colin Allred.
All right, so we'll pull him down. So Chuck Schumer, as Senate Majority Leader, his job is on the line here. He knows it. He knows that he's going to lose his job. He's going to be the Senate Minority Leader come November. So he's got to get out there and he's got to pretend like things are not as dire as they are, but they are as dire as they are. And he knows it. Right now, if you look at any of the polls, there is a clear path for the Republicans to take control of the Senate, especially because you have John Tester in Montana who's going to lose. You have West Virginia, where Joe Manchin just rolled over and left because he saw the writing on the wall, and that's an easy pickup for a Trump-endorsed candidate. In Ohio, Sherrod Brown could lose. That's a tight race. And in Arizona, it's Ruben Gallego versus Kari Lake. And if Donald Trump carries Arizona, I believe Kari Lake can carry Arizona as well. And that gives the Republicans a pretty decent majority in the Senate. So anyway, that's where we are. That's where. Why did my TV disappear? Where'd the TV go? Does anybody know? I had the TV here. Uh-oh. What did I do? At least we're still broadcasting, so thank God for that. Let me go. Where is my super suit? Guys, this is so weird. I lost the TV. I mean, I know no one's really complaining because it's Chuck Schumer, but I should probably have. There it is there. But I wanted this one. All right, I'm gonna have to add it again. Wait a minute. I think I got it. I know where it is. Oh no, that's me. My grandkids and all grandkids. Okay. Let's see what we got here. I want. But Donald Trump. Nope, that's wrong actually. Hold on. Oh, we're gonna get back on track here in just a minute. I'm looking for a screen share. Where would that be? Here it is. Oh, there it is. Look. Oh, it's like Little Chuck. Oops. It's like tiny Little Chuck. It's like Mike TV when he went through the Mike TV system. All right, now I gotta just fix it. Sorry, bear with me. I don't know. Guys, did anyone know what happened? Did anyone see what happened to my actual screen when it disappeared? Because I don't know. Here's the thing. Every now and then I hit a button and I think it's gonna do one thing, but evidently it does something. It does something totally different. Let me just trim this up. This is, you guys get the real behind the scenes tonight. This is the stuff that I do before the broadcast that you guys don't know about. And then we're gonna make it bigger, and we're gonna say, all right, there we go. Ta-da! You know what? I should probably lock this scene. I'm going to lock that scene. That's what it was. It was unlocked. So I just deleted it accidentally, but that's okay. We're back. Look at that. What, did I miss anything, by the way?
Tim Walz and a Democratic majority in the Senate, and keep the torch of freedom
Thanks, Jeff.
burning bright
Darn it.
for generations to come. On to victory in November.
Yay! By the way, I should thank Faith B904. She sent a super chat for $1.99. Faith B904, thank you so much. Always glad when you join us.
We will build what I call an opportunity economy.
What is this?
I will take on.
This is like
the
some
high
PBS stuff.
costs
Look at this.
That matter most to most Americans.
Wow.
Compare my plan with what Donald Trump intends to do.
Okay.
He wants to impose what is in effect a national sales tax
That's not at all
on everyday
That's not at all
products
true.
and basic necessities that we import from other countries.
Hmm.
It will mean higher prices on just about every one of your daily needs. Donald Trump's plan would cost a typical family $3,900 a year.
He wants to repeal the Affordable Care Act.
This
which
is
45 million Americans rely on.
I'm going to pause this. I'm going to pause this for just a minute. I'm going to shut this down. This is the similar. I don't know, guys. Do you remember when Elizabeth Warren was running and she used to keep saying, "I'm going to cut costs. I'm going to cut costs on your healthcare. I'm going to cut costs on everything that you do healthcare wise." And then everyone was like, "Yeah, but are you raising taxes?" And she was like, "I'm cutting costs." And they're like, "Lady, are you raising?" We're not idiots, right? And she's like, "No, I'm cutting costs." And then everyone was like, "But are you raising taxes?" And she refused to answer. This is a similar thing. This is Kamala Harris with the old bait and switch. She's trying to tell you that Donald Trump's going to cost you more money in the end, but really Donald Trump's going to save more money for everybody than her plan. I mean, we all remember her plan, right? Communism, right? We're all familiar with that. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. We all understand exactly what she has planned for the country. Anyway, let's go back and listen to this, because after this there'll be some other speaker, I'm sure.
More of their hard-earned income.
They're moving it along a little faster. Chuck Schumer didn't get as much time as some of the speakers last night. Didn't get as much time as Jasmine Crockett or Hillary Clinton or any of those other people.
Forward. I will fight to give money back to working and middle-class Americans.
That was that speech, by the way.
The security and stability financially of your family and expand.
They're taking this, by the way, they're taking this whole thing from that horrible rally she had where she kept talking about how prices were so high, sky high. Oh, who's coming out?
Please welcome Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders.
Yay! Oh! Oh, yay. This is a Saturday Night Live skit waiting to happen. Here we go. Bernie Sanders. You know Larry David's excited. Thank you. All I can think of is Larry David.
Thank you.
Larry.
My fellow Americans, it is an honor. It is an honor to be with you tonight. Because we're laying the groundwork for Kamala Harris to become our next president.
Man, this dude's older than Biden, and look at all his energy. He can speak without a teleprompter. He can hold himself up.
Let me tell you why that is so important.
Why?
I want you all to remember.
He's trying to get all
where
southern.
we were 3.5 years ago.
Okay.
We were in the midst of the worst public health crisis in 100 years.
That we ever created.
And the worst economic downturn since the Great Depression. 3,000 Americans were dying every day. And our hospitals were overwhelmed with COVID patients.
Well, the hospitals in the north and the south, we managed it okay.
All across the country, businesses were shutting down.
You were shutting them down.
Unemployment was soaring. Workers were losing their health insurance. Schools were closing. State and city budgets were running out of money. People were being evicted from their homes.
They weren't paying their rent because you kept them from going to work.
Children in America were going hungry. That was the reality the Biden-Harris administration faced as they entered the Oval Office. A nation suffering, a nation frightened, and people looking to their government for support.
Remind me after this to tell you the Bernie Sanders story.
Within 2 months
it's a good
of
one.
Taking office, our government did respond. We passed the American Rescue Plan,
and we
which
forced everybody to take vaccines.
$1,400
and we
for
told
every
them,
man, woman,
if you
and
go to the
child
Lincoln
in the
Memorial, you
working
need a
class.
mask. And then
we
fired our military
benefits
and
for
our
the unemployed.
Police workers and our emergency technicians.
We provided emergency
that
assistance
didn't want to get
for small businesses to stay open.
Pfizer shot.
We guaranteed health care coverage to tens of millions of Americans through one of the largest expansions of Medicaid in history. We provided rent relief and mortgage assistance, which prevented tenants and homeowners from being evicted.
Which was
We
unconstitutional.
established emergency food programs for hungry children and the elderly, and protected the pensions of millions of union workers and retirees.
Of course, the
from
union
being
workers were
slashed
protected.
by up to 65%.
Why is it that they did all that during COVID, but they can't seem to do it when there's not COVID?
Oh, and by the way,
Oh, yeah, sorry, what?
we cut childhood poverty by over 40%
Oh.
through an expanded child tax credit.
Oh, look at that. Socialism works for a little while, but now there's inflation
Thank
and
you,
everybody's
President
poor
Biden.
again.
Thank you, Vice President Harris. Thank you, Democratic Congress.
Don't forget, by the way, he wrote most of Joe Biden's medical policy, health insurance
Now,
policy.
I say
and,
all
uh,
of this
and a
not
couple of
to
other things.
relive that difficult moment,
Yeah.
but to make one simple point.
What is that?
When the political will is there, government can effectively deliver for the people of our country.
Was it political will? Is that what it was? Or was it
And
fear
now
of Donald
we
Trump?
need to summon that will again, because too many of our fellow Americans are struggling every day to just get by, to put food on the table, to pay the rent, and to get the health care they need.
But
Brothers and sisters,
I thought Obamacare
bottom
fixed all.
line, we need an economy that works for all of us, not just the billionaire class.
Communism. Here's
My
the
fellow Americans,
here's the architect right here, folks.
60% of our people live paycheck to paycheck. The top 1% have never, ever had it so good.
Ever?
And these oligarchs tell us we shouldn't tax the rich.
Right.
The oligarchs tell us
Shouldn't tax
we
anybody.
shouldn't take on price gouging.
Right.
We
'Cause
shouldn't
it's-
expand Medicare to cover dental, hearing, and vision.
I
And
mean,
we shouldn't increase
you just don't-
Social Security benefits
Well, you have
for
no way to
struggling
pay for it.
seniors.
It's not that you shouldn't do it. You can't pay for it.
Well,
You have no money.
I've got some bad news for them.
Oh, here it comes.
That is precisely what we are going to do.
Oh. Well, there goes Kamala's chance of becoming president.
And we're going to win this struggle because this is precisely what the American people want from their government.
I don't think it is. There's a faction of Americans, yes, who want
my friends,
free stuff from their government, but the majority
at the very top
just
of
want the
that
ability to
to-do
work
list
for what they want.
is the need to get big money out of our political process.
Okay, I'm a little confused. Does he know where he is?
Billionaires.
Does he know who
in
he's
both
talking to?
Parties
Oh, okay.
should not be able to buy elections, including primary elections.
Wow, this is the last time Bernie Sanders will be speaking in front of a bunch of Democrats. That is an unpopular opinion in the Democrat Party.
For the sake of our democracy,
Yeah.
we must overturn
It's a republic,
the
but
disastrous
that's okay.
Citizens United Supreme Court decision. And move toward public funding of elections.
You know, it's really
Let
kind of
me
interesting.
tell
He
you
gets to a
what
point where he
else
says makes a lot of sense,
we
but then
must
he
do.
just goes right over that
We
cliff.
need to join the rest of the industrialized world
Yeah.
and guarantee health care to all people as a human right, not a privilege.
Yeah. Again, with no way to pay for it. When they compare this
We
to all the
need-
European countries,
We need
That
to
have-
raise the minimum wage to a living wage.
so that companies go out of business and fire people.
We need to pass the PRO Act so that workers can organize in unions.
That's what we need. More unions, strong arm. Oh, he's got the Biden.
Gain the decent pay.
Did you hear that? He's got the Biden.
Benefits they deserve.
He caught Biden 19.
We need to strengthen public education. Raise teachers' salaries. And make sure that every American, regardless of income, receives the higher education he or she needs.
Hold on, I'm taking notes for the interlude.
We need to take on Big Pharma,
who we gave billions of dollars to during the pandemic.
Our prescription drug cost in half so that we no longer pay any more than other countries. Joe and Kamala made sure that no senior in America pays over $35 a month for insulin. We need to make sure that reality is true for every American. I look forward to working with Kamala and Tim.
Thank you, George Miller, by the way.
This agenda. And let us be very clear. This is not a radical agenda.
Oh, no. Not at all radical.
But let me tell you what a radical agenda is.
Here it comes.
And that is Trump's Project 2025. At a time of massive income and wealth inequality, giving more tax breaks to billionaires is radical.
Is it?
Putting forth budgets to cut Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid is radical.
No one's
Letting
suggesting
polluters destroy our planet is radical.
Also not suggesting that.
And my friends, we won't let that happen. Fellow Americans, in the last 3.5 years, working together, we have accomplished more than any government since FDR. But much, much more remains to be done.
There is there's not enough time
We must summon the courage
to rebut everything.
to stand up to wealth and power and deliver justice for people at home and abroad. Abroad.
Abroad. Why did he reiterate abroad?
War in Gaza.
Oh. He's got the Biden 19. That's the second cough.
Bring home the hostages and demand an immediate ceasefire.
I mean, I feel like the demand for the ceasefire has been met with resistance by Hamas.
At home right here.
You can't end the war in Gaza
we
if
must
the
take on
Gazans
big
don't want it
pharma,
ended.
Big oil, big ag,
Big head,
big tech,
big douche. Oh,
and
wait.
all the other corporate monopolists whose greed is denying progress for working people.
Yeah.
On November 5th,
Big Mac.
let us elect Kamala Harris as our president.
No, thank you.
And let us go forward to create the nation we know we can become. Thank you all very much.
Oh, there you go. All right, perfect. So that is, ladies and gentlemen, that is Senator Bernie Sanders, independent senator, I should point out, Bernie Sanders, who, by the way, first of all, before these disappear, we have to thank Baker 386.
Please welcome Illinois Governor J.B.
Oh, who's J.B. Pritzker's coming out. Baker 386 gave a $10 Rumble rant. Thank you for that, and wrote, Mark Kaye, you're the best, man. Keep up the great content. Very important voice. Thank you. Trump 2024. God bless America. God bless Mark Kaye. That is so nice of you. Zoominator 301. Also, a $10 Rumble rant on Rumble. We appreciate that as well. Wrote mahalo for hosting this, Mark. Oh, mahalo to you. From your Hawaii Patriot Wall of Excellence members, it's so much better to watch it here than on the TV. And I did put up, we got another super chat on YouTube too. So I was really thrilled. About that. That's my music, by the way. I'll pull that down. Do we care about JB? Does anybody care about JB Pritzker, by the way? He's only there because it's Illinois. Let me just get back to Bernie Sanders for just a minute. Bernie Sanders is just he's an entertaining kook, and he serves a really important purpose for the Democrat Party. Bernie Sanders is a guy who, for whatever reason, has become enamored by a large portion of the elite of the far left community in the Democrat Party. And Bernie Sanders' job is to get up on stage, like you just saw, or run for president on a campaign that is just so wackadoodle that you listen to it and you're just like, whoa, 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 whoa. How many drugs has this guy been smoking today? This is not something that's sustainable. All of these things that he kept talking about, healthcare for all and free school and raises for teachers. And we're not going to come up with any unique plan at all to pay for it. We're not going to we want to save the environment, so we're not going to drill for oil, which would give us a ton of cash to pay for teachers and provide healthcare for everybody. No, we're not going to do that. We're going to cut off our supply of money, and then we're going to create all these programs which cost money. Makes perfect sense. And the people that actually have money and pay the taxes, the millionaires and the billionaires, we're going to tax them more, thus inspiring them to work less and fire people and shutter their factories and shut down their jobs and their corporations. He thinks taxing the rich more is the answer, and it never is. It never is. But paying teachers more too. I know a lot of teachers. I have 2 kids in school. I know a lot of teachers. Teachers aren't bad. There's a lot of, by the way, first of all, there's a lot of great teachers out there in public school and private school. Teachers aren't bad because they're not getting enough money. That is a fallacy. The fallacy of the socialist regime or the Bernie Sanders party or the Democrats, whatever it is the fallacy. They have this notion in their minds that if you pay people more, automatically their performance will increase. And you know what I've found is that oftentimes the opposite is true. If you're a teacher and you don't love teaching and you don't find fulfillment in the job and you don't have a natural talent for it or a natural desire to do it, more money is just going to make you richer, and it's going to make you a richer bad teacher. It just means you're going to suck more at teaching, but you're going to eat a lot better. And I guess they feel like that's the problem with our education system. It happens in every industry, not just teaching. I'm not picking on educators. Happens in the radio industry. I know for a fact, I can count right now 5 radio hosts who make way more money than I ever did and are nowhere near as good. I could probably name more than 5, but right off the bat, there's 5 radio hosts who made tons more cash than I ever did in my life from the radio, and they suck. And so paying somebody more does not necessarily equate to better job performance. You probably see it where you work. I guarantee you work somewhere. Maybe you're an electrician, and you know that the shift manager or the shop chief or whatever it is, the head electrician, the yeoman. Is it yeoman? No. Doesn't matter. You know that they make way more than you, but you know that when there's a tight situation, you're the one that they send. Maybe you work in an accounting firm, and you know that you save your clients way more money in taxes every year because you know the loopholes and you figure out a way for them to save. But it's the guy whose name is on the placard out front. That's the one that's making the bank. I know so many people who get fired because they're talented, but they're not, their bosses make more money and want to keep that money. And so paying teachers more does not solve the problem. Let me talk. Oh, the FDR thing too. You got to stop with this FDR thing.
Sin of being successful while not white.
Oh, I'm missing. Hold on. I want to hear about being successful while not white. Maybe that's my problem. Maybe I'm too white.
It's not woke that limits economic growth. It's weird.
Oh, they're back on the weird kick.
And these guys aren't just weird, they're dangerous. Democrats are for lower taxes.
Okay, J.B. Pritzker, by the way, should not be calling anybody dangerous because, I mean, this guy, look, he's right out of The Sopranos.
Craft those policies for Elon Musk.
You don't become governor of Chicago without, knowing where some of the bodies are buried, is all I'm saying.
That includes a secure retirement and good health care.
Oh, look, I'm like scratching.
We think the government.
Okay, let me get back to Bernie for a second. So this FDR thing too, you gotta stop with FDR. First of all, it's a lie. Joe Biden has not done more than any president since FDR. There have been so many presidents that have done good and bad. I mean, since FDR, holy cow, there's been so many of them. Truman stopped World War II. He pushed the nuclear program way ahead at leaps and bounds. JFK put a man on the moon. Some people would argue that the man never went to the moon. You've got one of the most underrated presidents, Richard Nixon. He solidified a relationship with China, which led to all kinds of growth in manufacturing, changed the world. Some would say for the worse, but a lot would say for the better. Ended the Vietnam War eventually. You've got Reagan, who, don't even get me started on Reagan. We could do a whole 4 hours on how Reagan saved the country from Jimmy Carter, who was the Joe Biden of the 70s. In came Ronald Reagan, and well, he fixed it all. And in 8 years, we were stronger, better, safer, richer. Ronald Reagan did way more than Joe Biden could ever hope to do, and he did it without being a big racist. So there's a lot of presidents who have done. Donald Trump in 4 years. I have a list. I printed this out. Let me show you this, because I'm working on a special project. Okay, I'm working on a special project. This is as of January 2021. So this is 3.0. Trump administration accomplishments as of January 2021. It is 60 pages. And I haven't even gotten through it. And that's through January 2021. There's no way Joe Biden has this many accomplishments that anyone could list. But the FDR thing is a fallacy because FDR, people forget, Franklin Delano Roosevelt. This guy ran 4 times for president and almost served 4 full terms. He was president longer by 2 times than most people. He was president 3 times longer than Joe Biden's been president. There's no way any president could accomplish as much as a guy who's been in the job twice as much. That's not true. I think Reagan came close, and I think Donald Trump could do it as well. But Joe Biden, it's a fallacy. It's a lie. It's not true. Let me tell you about Bernie Sanders. Hold on one second.
President of the United States of America. Let's go get him.
Oh, good. It's over. All right. So this is why, people always say my vote doesn't count. My vote doesn't count. Let me tell you how your vote counts. Bernie Sanders. And again, I'm getting way ahead of myself. I'm so excited by Bernie Sanders. Wait, who's coming out now?
Of American Express and current chair and managing director of General Catalyst, Ken Chenault.
Nobody cares about Ken Chenault. All right. So Bernie Sanders, he serves a purpose for the Democrat Party, and his purpose is to come out there and say these crazy things that are way over here on the left that never would happen, that no one would agree to, that everyone, even Democrats, goes, whoa, that's horrible. We will never do that. But what they do is they set the goalpost farther to the left. So let's say the Democrats have kind of a moderate philosophy, but they want to move farther to the left, but they're getting a lot of pressure from over here on the right. Well, they get Bernie Sanders to move the goalpost back here, and now all of a sudden, these Democrats don't look like they're moderate Democrats. They look kind of like they're centrists. And if they move farther to the left to match Bernie Sanders, it's okay. So he moves the goalpost farther out so that traditional Democrats can just look and act crazy. So they can bring transitioning males to the White House to jiggle their hooters and post it on TikTok. They can have all kinds of, they can have all these crazy ideas like multiple genders and boys punching women in the face in the boxing arena at the Olympics because Bernie Sanders moved the goalpost. That's the only reason they keep him around. That's why they give him a primetime spot. They want to make you think, man, we're not crazy. This guy's crazy. So we're normal. And you'll pass all the stuff that we want passed. Again, that's why Bernie Sanders is allowed to keep coming up. The second thing is with Bernie Sanders, never think that your vote doesn't matter. Your vote matters a lot more than you think. Bernie Sanders, when he was in Connecticut, was broke. He was unemployed. He had no skills. He had no money. Okay. And he was at a crossroads. He was living in some small town in Vermont. And I want to say it was a mayoral race. It was mayor or city council. I'm gonna have to do so. I'll do some research. It was mayor or city council. It was one of those things where he was a professor, couldn't get a job, and he thought to himself, I'm going to go either back to teaching, or maybe I'll run for this city council position in this small town in Vermont. And he said, let me run for this city council position in this small town in Vermont. If I don't get it, I'll go back to teaching. And Bernie Sanders won that election by 12 votes. 12 votes. And now we have Bernie Sanders standing on stage at the DNC, yelling and screaming about the craziest, most communistic, socialist agenda that the Democrats have ever put forth. Bernie sent 12 votes. If 12 people had said, you know what, I'm not going to vote for the kooky guy that looks like Larry David from Seinfeld, I'm going to vote some other way, we wouldn't have Bernie Sanders. He wouldn't be a thing. Sure, there'd be some other socialist out there, but Bernie Sanders would be a teacher somewhere. Equally as scary, sure, but you know, it is what it is. All right, let's go back to
Current and future.
Well, we still don't care about Chenault, do we? I don't care about Chenault. Anyway, let's do some comments. I think I got another. Yes, I have here on Rumble a couple more people that we need to thank. TM Rozek dropped $1 and said, keep going, Mark. You know how these blowhards work. TM Rozek, I really appreciate that. Oh, wait a minute. TM Rozek. Oh, hold on. TM Rozek's throwing dollar bills, y'all. It's like I'm on stage and she's just boom. The first $1 I got from TM Rozek, all still stupid blowhards. Thanks for hosting, Mark. Love that you're back. You still make bad news sound good. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. That's my goal in life. And then TM Rozek, keep going, Mark. You know how these blowhards work. So we got $2. I feel like it's like I'm a stripper, and it's just like keep the dollar bills coming, y'all. Keep them coming. This is fun. Wait, I think I have. Here we go. Watch, ready? These aren't dollars; these are hundreds. But we take 100. We accept all denominations of currency too. I should probably pick these. Pick these $100 bills back up because times are tight. Fun fact: these are fake $100 bills. This is called movie money. If you look at, I'll show you. It says for motion picture use only. And I bought a couple stacks of these years ago for props, and they've come in very handy. You wouldn't believe how many times you need to have a bunch of fake $100 bills lying around. And fun fact, I think I shared this on the show one day. There was a time when the postal service was going to go out of business. Everyone was like, the post office is broke. The post office needs money. We're not going to get our packages in time for Christmas because the post office sucks. And so I had like a stack of these. And I did a video where I went down to the little mailbox, the little drop-in mailbox. It's like the blue thing, and you open it up and you slide in. So I shot a video of me. I went down the mailbox, I opened it, and I dropped a stack of these $100 bills into the mailbox, and I closed it, and I go, I heard the U.S. Postal Service needed money. I'm just doing my part. And I posted it on Instagram or whatever. 2 days later, our HOA, because it was it was a mailbox in the neighborhood. Our HOA sends out an email to like 1,000 people in the neighborhood and says, some loose cash was inadvertently dropped into the mailbox. If you are missing some cash and you know how much it was, please contact the HOA and we will return it to you. And I just thought to myself, oh my God, these people, they think it's real money. And I thought to myself, the HOA thinks that this is real money and they're trying to return it to the owner. And then I thought to myself, oh, well, if they think this is real money, then I'm going to use it to pay my HOA fees next time. Anyway, there we go. Keep it coming, folks. We're partying all night long. Or at least till 11. Actually, that's a lie. We're not partying all night long. We're partying till 11 o'clock tonight. I'll give Obama, I'll give him a couple extra minutes. I get it. I'll give him till like 11:15, but not past midnight. I am what's his name? I'm a gremlin tonight. I'm a mogwai. I'm Gizmo. If you get me wet, I will multiply. That sounds horrible. Oh no. Don't even. You know what? I'm not a gremlin. I just creeped myself out. All right, here we go. Oh, Ginger. LMAO, Mark. I actually remember you telling this story a few years ago. Oh, good. See? So was it funnier the first time or this time? It doesn't matter. That's a good thing. You know, it's like when you play music, you want to hear the best songs over and over and over again. Let's see. Oh, someone else is coming up. Let's see who it is. Who is it? Oh, I know her. That's what's her name.
Good evening, America. I'm Michelle Lujan Grisham, governor of the great state of New Mexico. And in my state, we like things spicy, a little chili on everything, a little kick.
Oh, white guy tacos.
And let me tell you, we are feeling en fuego right now.
Oh my gosh. This is like when moms get too drunk at mom's night out.
Harris, President of the United States.
In fact, she reminds me right now of at least 3 of my wife's friends who get really drunk and go, "We're feeling en fuego."
Woo! Is about protecting our democracy and securing our freedom.
Oh, sorry.
Including the right to affordable, quality health care.
You know, I would think that if you're bringing in someone from New Mexico, they would talk about the border. But again, it's a Democrat.
To Vice President Harris, whose mom passed away after a battle with colon cancer. And it's personal to me. At 2 years old, my sister was diagnosed with a tumor that was incurable and made her uninsurable by the time she was 3. And it's personal to Americans across the country who know what it's like when someone they love gets sick. Donald Trump and J.D. Vance want to dismantle our healthcare system, repeal the Affordable Care Act, and eliminate protections for pre-existing conditions. Either these guys don't get it, or they just don't care.
Or you don't get it would be the third option. There's a third option.
You know who gets it? Kamala Harris gets it, and she cares.
Yeah. Here's the thing about the Affordable Health Care Act. It's not affordable, and it doesn't care for your health.
As Attorney General, she took on drug companies that jacked up prices and hospitals that overcharged patients. And when Republicans tried to kill the Affordable Care Act, she stood up in the Senate, voting not just no, but hell no.
The interesting thing about the Affordable Care Act, again, is that it's not affordable and doesn't provide care, but is the mandate that you have it. And that is how they get you. They try to tell you...
For making our healthcare system worse.
They try to tell you that the Republicans are anti-healthcare and they don't want you to have healthcare. No, they want you to have government-funded healthcare. Again, because when you stifle competition, and we've all seen this with the ACA, I mean, it's a bad argument. This is an argument that the Democrats probably shouldn't be making. Again, if you're going to bring out the governor of New Mexico, you talk about the border. It makes perfect sense. The only problem is the governor of New Mexico doesn't care about the border, just like the governor of California doesn't care about the border, just like Kamala Harris, the border czar, doesn't care about the border.
Bans.
This is the woman, remember, she tried to outlaw guns in the city of Albuquerque. And she was like, hey, guess what? I've signed an executive order.
I got a box of Trump steaks to sell you.
Oh, yeah. She was the one that said, hey, I'm just going to arbitrarily outlaw guns in Albuquerque. And everyone was like, I'm sorry. Second Amendment, you can't do that. You're not, you can't overwrite the Constitution, lady. And so then everybody showed up in Albuquerque with their guns strapped to their chests. That's her.
Your right to care. She'll capture.
And by doing that, you get a primetime speaking spot at the DNC. Isn't that amazing? This woman just basically trampled all over the Second Amendment. She tried to tell people they couldn't carry their guns because she didn't like guns, because she felt unsafe, which is weird because as the governor, you imagine you have a lot of armed protection. And as a result of trying to shred the Second Amendment, she gets a primetime speaking. She becomes a star in the Democrat Party. That's all it takes. That's all it takes. All you have to do is lock your citizens up for coming out of their homes, put them for sitting on the beach during COVID for not wearing a mask. Tim Walz shot people with paintball guns at their homes because they were sitting on the porch during COVID instead of locked up inside with each other, which doesn't make any sense. But you don't have to make sense. And now he's vice presidential material.
I love you too.
Oh, and Navarro's back.
Y en español, los quiero.
Oh, lo quiero. Oh.
So, my mom, like Kamala's mom, got sick.
Oh, no.
When my mom died in 2021, Kamala called me. She had lost her mother to cancer in 2009. Kamala helped me navigate my grief. She said that heartbreak and loss are the price for having loved and having been loved. How I wish
But maybe she'll lose in November.
our mothers could be here to see this moment. In the next 4 years, America will invariably have moments of great sadness and pain in our country.
Especially if Kamala
Some will be natural
wins.
disasters. Some will be man-made disasters. We need a president who can not only be commander-in-chief, but also consoler-in-chief. We need
false.
a president with empathy, capable of lifting us up when we are down. We need a president who is capable of holding us in a big, great hug when we need it. That is Kamala Harris.
I don't
Donald Trump
I think Joe
is
Biden.
only capable of holding two things.
Uh-oh.
A grudge and a golf club.
I think we've had enough hugging with Joe Biden, don't you think? I think we've had enough hugging and touching and inappropriateness. Well, I think we need a leader that leads, not somebody who, not somebody who molests. That's all. That's just my 2
I remember
cents.
when Kamala was first running for district attorney, and people were like, "Oh, I don't know
Oh
if
my
she's
God.
tough enough." And I just
Look,
had
it's
to
little
laugh
bitty Kamala.
because I'm like, "You don't know my sister."
That's her sister. Oh no, they were showing us itty bitty Kamala.
Kamala had been a hard and tough prosecutor
All right,
in
I'm not-
Alameda County.
I'm not really interested in this. I apologize. Turning the tables on pimps and Johns. Why would they? I love that they picked the headline that had Kamala, pimps, and Johns in it. Maybe don't pick that headline. Maybe don't get Ashley Biden to introduce her father on his final night and to tell a story that just made everybody cringe. And maybe don't get the headline that says Kamala, pimps, and Johns. Again, I'm not running the joint. Nobody asked my opinion. I'm just saying. If it were me, I would do it totally differently. All right, let's see what we got going on here. We have that was her mic drop. Weak sauce. Donald Trump only holds two things: a grudge and a golf club. I'll be honest, he does hold them both pretty. He does hold them both pretty well. Oh, there was an interview, by the way, with Theo Vaughn. I don't know if you guys saw this. Theo Vaughn and Donald Trump. I just stumbled on it. I was on X. And I saw this interview with Donald Trump and Theo Vaughn, and I started watching it. And it was segmented. It was cut into sections. And Theo Vaughn, for those of you that don't know, is a comedian. Pretty funny, pretty foul. He's the guy that will say the thing that you're thinking, that you're like, you think something and you go, I should not say that out loud. Theo Vaughn's the guy that says it. We're a lot alike that way. But Theo, hilarious. If you ever watch Joe Rogan, if you watch, he got his own podcast now and he's very popular. He interviews a lot of bigwigs. He got an interview with Donald Trump and I turned it on. I was watching it and they were talking about Trump's brother, Fred, who, by the way, there's a whole chapter in my book about Trump's brother, Fred. I actually don't have my book here. It's bad. It's bad marketing. Bad marketing. Mark, I have to go over. I'll get a copy. In fact, here, wait right here. By the way, there's a whole bunch of $100 bills still. Oh, but that's okay. No, but there's a whole story about Donald Trump's brother, Fred. What is going on? In my book, Go Trump Yourself, 10 Ways to Live Like Trump in a Joe Biden Economy, which we're not promoting anymore because Joe Biden's not the president anymore. I thought I would get a lot more time out of it. I mean, it's still a great book and the lessons are fantastic, but it says in a Joe Biden economy and he's not going to be president much longer. So it still works. But there's a whole story in here about Donald Trump and his brother, Fred. And so I'm watching this Theo Vaughn interview and all of a sudden they start talking about Fred Trump. And I go, what's going on? And Theo Vaughn is a recovering alcoholic, recovering drug addict. And they got into this really crazy, cool, fascinating conversation about drug and alcohol dependency and about going to rehab clinics, and Donald Trump was talking about his brother, who he talks about his kids all the time. Talks about his kids, talks about his grandkids. And Donald Trump is, in everybody's mind, he's the top of the tree. There's nobody else. Yeah, sure, we hear about his father from time to time. We hear about his father every now and then. But the thing about Donald Trump is that you never hear about his influences or his idols. He always looks like this stoic, grandfatherly presidential figure sitting at the top of the family tree. But his brother Fred was older than him, and it was a huge influence on him, and was an alcoholic and died because of his alcoholism, and told Donald Trump, he said, every time I saw him, he told me, don't drink. And and his brother was significantly older than him and was someone that, he looked up to. So his brother told him every time, don't drink, don't smoke, don't do drugs. Meanwhile, his brother was sloshed and chain smoking. But he said, he's like, Donnie, don't do what I do. Don't drink, don't smoke, don't do drugs. And Donald Trump, he's like, I've never had a glass of liquor. I've never had a shot, a champagne, a glass of wine. I mean, this guy owns vineyards. This guy hangs out at clubs. I don't know if you've ever been to a golf club. There's a lot of drinking at the golf club. There's a cart girl that drives around and brings you whatever you want. The 19th hole is actually just code word for the bar. And there's weddings and there's ceremony. There's parties every day. He goes to more fundraisers than probably any politician. Champagne everywhere, flowing like water. Guy doesn't drink. And he goes, I wouldn't be here today if it weren't for my brother Fred, who unfortunately died from his illness. He talks about how Fred was this great pilot, loved to fly, was so talented, trained other pilots. Other pilots would come to him and say, teach me how to fly. And he had to give it up because of alcoholism. So it was really fascinating, and it was really interesting to me to watch that interview with Theo Von. Go check it out later on. Don't do it now because we're still live streaming. But definitely check it out because it shows a real side. I think I put it on my Twitter. So you can just go to my X and you can watch it. And it was really, to me, something that if they could get Donald Trump to do more of, and then he got into how horrible Kamala Harris is and how the border sucks and all that other stuff. But it was really, really great. And I really enjoyed it. I got something here. What is this? Raven, Black Sparrow, DBA Lower Lips Liquor, gifted 5 Mark Kaye memberships. That is so nice. That's on YouTube. Thanks, Raven, Black Sparrow, DBA Lower Lips Liquor. We really appreciate it. That's very kind of you to gift 5 Mark Kaye Show memberships. I really appreciate that. Any way that you guys can help the show, any way that you guys can help us do this, because look, there's some reasons why I do this. Number one, I love doing it. I do it even if I weren't getting paid for it. And if you don't believe me, just tune in every day at noon. But we're independent now, as many of you know. We've been independent since February. Well, since March, really. And almost 6 whole months. And we're, by we, I mean, it's me and my wife and a couple other people, my kids. But we're doing our best to continue to move this message, continue to use the gifts that I have, the gifts that they have, and not have to get bogged down in any kind of corporate minutia or ridiculousness. We want to make sure that we're still providing the entertainment, the information, the enlightenment. We want to make sure that we're doing everything we can. And there's a couple ways that you can help. There's 3, actually. The first way is to watch. If you're watching on Rumble every day, fantastic. If you're watching on YouTube every day, we love that. If you're watching on X and Facebook, wherever you happen to be, thank you so much. If you're downloading the podcast, that's a huge help. We love growing the podcast. We want to grow the podcast. And having a top-rated podcast really opens up a lot of doors. And of course, it helps us spread our message, which is really the most important thing in my humble opinion. So that's the first thing you can do. And if you're watching right now or listening right now, you're doing that. So congrats. The second thing you can do is throw money at us. Much like we've been getting, every time we get a super chat or a Rumble rant, like, Trish, TM Rozek, Trish says, here's another $1 for your dance. Just throwing money at us is great because we can use the money to invest in the program and make sure that we can be here every single day. So we'll take all the Rumble rants. We'll take all the super chats. We're not a charity, but we're up for, and I don't see it as a charity. I see it as, look, I'm providing this show. You like it. You just, throw me a tip, which according to Donald Trump will not be taxed. So that's another cool thing. And then the third way is because I am a capitalist at heart. That's why I create not just this great content for you, but also products, books and t-shirts and hats and whatnot. I got to get my hat. But we have a whole store. If you go to markshop.com, markshop.com, you can see all the fantastic stuff in our store. And you can see we have hoodies. We took this great Donald Trump quote from the RNC, which if you don't know what the quote, here's the quote.
America's future will be bigger, better, bolder, brighter, happier, stronger, freer, greater, and more united than ever before.
Yeah, and if you go to the shop, you'll see we've created an entire line, an entire collection with hoodies and t-shirts, men's and women's. I was wearing actually this camouflage t-shirt. I stole it back from my daughter today. So it's amazing, and it's so comfortable. The hoodies are fantastic. We have the Kaye print if you're into cooking, and we have other stuff too. We have the whimsical MAGA King line. We've got Marquez Saves the Republic gear. I was wearing this sweatshirt earlier on the show today, and a lot of people were like, "Where can I get that sweatshirt?" And I was like, I literally just told you 5 seconds ago, markshop.com is where you go. And Patriot gear. If you're a Patriot and you want to let everybody know, hey, I'm a Patriot, what better way than to wear a shirt and put it right across your chest there so that everybody knows you're a Patriot. And then, now I got to get my hat. Hang on, I get my hat. This is my new favorite hat. And I know what you're saying, Mark. It's your new favorite hat because it has your name on it. And that's true. But it doesn't just have my name on it. I mean, it does have my...
America's future.
It has my name on it, but it has the cool rope effect. It's very luxurious. It's got that shimmery kind of... I didn't even wear it out today. Like, I like this hat so much that when my wife said, let's take the dogs for a walk, I said, oh, wait, I have to go change my hat. And she said, why do you have to change your hat? And I said, because if I go out in this hat, in this heat, I'm going to sweat. And if I start sweating, my hat's going to get ruined. And this hat is way too nice to wear out. So this is like my indoor, hat, but it's an amazing hat. And I really, really love it. And you'll love it too. And we have other stuff too. We've got somebody bought this signature zip hoodie, which comes in orange, black, or navy, all kinds of stuff. And like I said, you can, there it is in orange, black, or navy. And you can, because again, I'm all about you getting something for your money. If you buy something, you get something and you support the show. If you just give us money, you hopefully get entertainment and information, and you also support the show. Speaking of which, Carla K. Clennon just dropped a $50 Rumble rant, and we are just so, man, Carla, you're in my prayers. Thank you so much. We really appreciate that. That's amazing. Love that you are back on Rumble. I love being back on Rumble too. Rumble is one of my faves, and we're going to try to grow our Rumble every single day. And we got to the point, it's a learning. We talked about this a little bit yesterday. Oh, wait, Kim Kingston dropped $1.99 on YouTube. Kim, thank you so much. Wait, where's that? I can probably find it. Here. So you guys, like I said, all your generosity is very much appreciated. Where's Kim? I want to make sure. Oh, here we go. I'm going to pop Kim up there real quick so everyone can see that she dropped a $1.99 super chat on YouTube. You guys are phenomenal. The one thing I wanted to say about what happened when we got fired is that we had to can't get in. All right, I won't get into everything, but it wasn't pretty, it wasn't a fun thing. It wasn't an amicable, there were some things that were like a little bit of a battle. And for a couple months there, I was, fighting, trying to figure this out. I had a lot of lawyers, still do have a lot of lawyers. Lots of money goes to lawyers. Your Rumble rants are going to the lawyers. But anyway, the long and the short of it is we had to take a little breathing period to figure out exactly what was going on, what was happening, where we stood, where they stood, everything else. And so now, we're looking at it. We're like, okay, great. This is fantastic. We're back. But whenever you take a break, and it happens if you go away for a week or a month or 3 months, you lose a little bit of audience. People, they love us when we're here, and when we're gone, they forget about us. And that's okay. That's just human nature. No one's blaming anybody. That's human nature. And you go off and you start a new routine. You start a new habit. I get it. I do the same things. When I binge watch a Netflix show and then I find out, oh, I'm not going to get another season for like 2 more years, I got to go binge watch some other Netflix show. It happens. So we're trying to grow our audience back. And on Rumble today, we had 1,600 people watching live, and that's shy of the 3,000 we used to have. But my goal is not to stop. On YouTube, we had about, in fact, I used to check. On YouTube, we had about 300 I'm sorry, we had about 300 or so, 350, I think, was our top live. And that's not a lot, but we haven't been on YouTube in years. So for me, I look at it and go, wow, that's a lot. You know, that's actually not too shabby. And the real fun thing about YouTube is when we look at our analytics and when we look at and see what's going on YouTube, well, look, they have this live counter. And on YouTube right now, we have 37,183 subscribers. And the good news is it's just been going up. This was us. We had 34,000 July 23rd. We came back live on the 15th. So look at that. We just got one more. So we're up 3,000. 3,000 people have joined our channel in just the last month. It's, what is it, the 20th? In less than a month, we got 3,000 and 94 people. And aren't you impressed by my instant math? So we're growing. And we're not going to stop till that says 1 million. And we're not even then. It's not like we're going to get to 1 million and we're going to stop. We're going to just keep going every single day. But like I said, those are the ways that you can help the show and help us grow. So we definitely appreciate that. All right, let's see what's going on with this convention. Let's see. Was this a commercial?
Miracle of IVF treatments.
Oh, they're talking about
come true.
IVF treatments, which is something that apparently Tim Walz got, but nobody knew. There's no apparently record. We didn't know. Surprise, surprise. Tim Walz and his got IVF. Now, I don't know if it's that, and again, I don't want to start any rumors. Okay, fun fact. I didn't start these rumors. I just read them online. Which is what, so I'm not technically starting rumors, but there's more and more stuff that comes out about Tim Walz that makes me think maybe maybe there's a reason this guy has RBF, right? I mean, look how miserable this guy has resting biatch face like no one I've ever seen him. This guy is miserable all the time. This was yesterday. This was happening yesterday when everybody was standing on stage saying, "We love you, Tim Walz, and you're going to be the next vice president of the country," and all this other stuff. But Tim Walz is out there looking like this, and I'm thinking to myself, what's the problem? Typically, when somebody's that miserable in their life, it's because they're hiding something. And there's a lot of things that are pointing to, I don't know what, but this whole, oh, we have IVF, which nobody knew about. Oh, we did IVF for our kids. Now you got to think to yourself, why did they do IVF? Is it because his wife didn't want to sleep with him? Is it because he didn't want to sleep with her? We don't know. We may never know because none of them do any press conferences.
Tammy Duckworth.
Oh, Tammy Duckworth. Oh, look. Wow, where's she been? Wow, look at Tammy Duckworth. Thank you, Patriot Lindsay. For keeping it. Patriot Lindsay, keeping it real. I love that.
You know,
oh, sorry.
You know, I went to war to protect America's rights and freedoms. So I take it personally when a 5-time draft-dodging coward like Donald Trump tries to take away my rights and freedoms in return.
But she has no problem with Tim Walz lying about
my daughters.
His military service.
My girls, gamer girl Abigail and queen of the monkey bars, Miley, are everything to me.
Oh, it's the abortion.
They would never have been born without access to reproductive care.
So they're talking about IVF, but basically it's talking about abortion. They lump it all together.
After 10 years of struggling with infertility, I was only able to have them through the miracle of IVF. But now, Trump's anti-woman crusade has put other Americans' right to have their own families at risk. Because if they win, Republicans will not stop at banning abortion. They will come for IVF next. They'll prosecute doctors. They will shame and spy on women. And if you think that's far-fetched, just look up what happened in Alabama last year. So let me say to every would-be parent, I see you. I'm with you. And together, in November, we'll send a message to old Cadet Bone Spurs.
Cadet Bone Spurs. That's a new one.
Stay out of our doctors' offices, and while you're at it, out of the Oval Office too.
It's interesting to me how these people love government to be in your business when it's healthcare, but they don't want government in their business when it's abortion.
Than any wound I earned on the battlefield. So how dare a convicted felon like Donald Trump treat women seeking health care like they're the ones breaking the law? How dare J.D. Vance criticize childless women on cable news, then
Childless cat
vote
ladies.
against legislation
Get it right.
would have actually helped Americans to start families? How dare the GOP endanger the dreams of countless veterans whose combat wounds prevent them from having kids without IVF, punishing our heroes for their willingness to serve?
I don't think that's what's happening.
It's simple. Every American deserves the right to be called mommy or daddy without being treated like a criminal.
All right, by the way, she just assumed genders. They could be called mommy and mommy or daddy too.
So,
let's see, Pete Buttigieg
let's
somewhere is
make some
like shaking his
history
fist at
and
her.
elect her in November. God bless America.
Yeah. It's the spin is, I don't know if these people are just well paid or if they really believe it, but the lies that they spew about the Republican Party and the Republican Party platform and Agenda 47 and what Donald Trump will or won't do, it's just insanity. Thank God that nobody actually watches this crap. That's not true.
He was raised in Jersey, moved to LA when he was 16.
Oh my God,
These
is
are
this
his parents, Barb and Mike. They think he walks on water.
Is this, what's his name?
This is what he wore to his bar mitzvah. And here's him at summer camp. They voted him most athletic, so he says. This is a photo McDonald's used when he was Employee of the Month. It hung on our wall for years.
This is crazy.
My dad is a lawyer, a really good one. My mom called him the crisis guy because he was everyone's first call. My parents split when I was in middle school, and that wasn't easy. That's not easy for any kid. But it helped that my parents stayed friends, and we all kept hanging together. We grew closer than ever. And then he met Kamala, the blind date that would dramatically change all of our lives.
Wait, she's
forever.
blind?
It was my senior year of high school.
I had no idea.
Elle and I would laugh watching them fall in love, acting like teenagers.
They still act like
In
teenagers.
2014, Kamala became Mamala. She took over Sunday night dinners and taught Doug how to actually cook. Our
Mamala.
blended
I'm for the
family
Mamala.
wasn't used
I'm
to
sorry.
politics or the spotlight, but when Kamala became senator, we were all excited to step up, especially my dad. Then Kamala became vice president. It felt like Doug was a bit out of place on Capitol Hill.
You think so?
I thought, what is my goofy dad doing here? But he embraced it. He left his practice after being a lawyer for 30 years. That was tough. I was so proud to watch him do it, to stand by her side, an example of true partnership.
My husband.
I just got married myself.
I love
and he's
my
inspired
husband.
me as a new husband. Anyone who
tell you about
really
my
gets close to him
husband.
knows he's kind, loving, and fiercely protective. I mean,
look at
just
him.
look at this face.
Look at that.
This is my dad, the first second gentleman in the history of this nation. He's found his voice around the issues that matter to him.
You have no choice but to speak up.
That was
speak out.
that was a Jewish
There is
star.
an epidemic of hate,
Star of David. Don't they know that that's a big
including
no-no?
a crisis of anti-Semitism.
By the way, I hope
in
this
our
music
country
isn't
and
copyrighted.
around
I
the
just
world.
realized
What
that.
they are doing
Been playing for a
on
long time.
reproductive freedom and freedom in general is just outrageous.
And next, he's gonna make history again as the first gentleman.
That is sad.
I can't wait for everyone to get to know why we all love him.
That is sad.
He's the glue that keeps this family together.
He is, Kamala officiate the wedding. Sure,
we
look
might
like
not
it.
look like other families in the White House, but we are ready to represent all families in America.
Yes, Jeff. Doug is Jewish, and Kamala is for Palestine.
Please welcome my dad, the second gentleman of the United States, Doug Emhoff.
By the way, who came up with the term second gentleman? I would feel like you would need a first gentleman in order for there to be a second gentleman. Isn't that true? Like, you have the first lady, that's why you have the second lady. I don't think you can actually... Oh my gosh, he has his own signs. How emasculating. Jill had her own signs, and now Doug Emhoff has his own sign. Jill and Doug. Jill and Doug, it sounds like a bad sitcom from the 90s.
Thank you.
Oh. All right, let's listen to Dougie.
Thank you, Cole.
Teach me how to Dougie.
I guess he didn't want me to give this speech. He just...
Thank you. Thank you so much. Hello. Thank you.
I don't know that... Okay, I think the crowd settled down.
Hello to my big, beautiful, blended family up there.
Blended family, sorry.
I love you so much. Aren't you proud of Cole? Wow. And a special shout out to my mother. I see you. My mother is the only person in the whole world who thinks Kamala is the lucky one for marrying me.
That's kind of funny.
And to Kamala, who, well, we just saw where she is. She's out on the trail, listening to and talking with voters. Honey, I can't wait for you to come back to Chicago because we're having a great time here.
Without you.
I love you so much.
That's very sweet.
I'm so proud of how you're stepping up for all of us. But that's who she is. Wherever she's needed, however she's needed, Kamala rises to the occasion. And she did it for me and our family. And now that the country needs her, she's showing you what we already know.
Fun fact, we don't need her.
She's ready
We're
to
good.
lead.
We're good without her.
She brings both joy and toughness to this task. And she will be a great president we will all be proud of. Now, I'm the son of two Brooklynites,
Yeah.
Mike and Barb. They've been together almost 70 years.
Wow, that's a lot of years.
My dad worked in the shoe business in Manhattan, and he moved our family out to New Jersey. Where's New Jersey? I see you out there. When I was a little kid. And
He
in a lot
reminds
of
me of-
ways,
He reminds me
I
of like
had
one of my
typical
Stone
Jersey
fraternity
suburban
brothers giving a
childhood.
speech at the end of the year.
I biked around the neighborhood. I took the bus to Hebrew school. And I rode to Little League practice in the way back of my coach's wood-paneled station wagon.
The Woody.
And if we did well, we got to have a Slurpee after. In my neighborhood, everyone left their garage door open. Wherever you ended up at dinner time, that's the family that fed you. Everyone took care of everyone else.
We call that
And
socialism.
the guys I grew up with are still my best friends. The group chat is active every day, and it's probably blowing up right now, guys. When my dad had to get a new job,
He's such a
we
dork.
moved across the country to LA. Money was tight. Hey, California.
There were no jobs between New Jersey and LA. There was not a single job
Money
between
was tight.
in the
so
3,000
I worked at
miles.
McDonald's in high school for some extra cash.
Oh, guess what? You met Kamala.
Not only was I Employee of the Month, but I still have the framed picture, which you just saw, and there was a ring, golden arches and all. And then I waited tables, parked cars. I was working full-time so I could afford to go to college part-time. And thanks to partial scholarships, student loans, and a little help from my dad, I got myself through law school.
Yeah.
And I got my first job as a lawyer.
That's what we needed was another lawyer in
in
LA.
my fantasy football league. And a lot has changed in our lives since the early 90s, but my team name is still Nirvana. Yes, after the band. I
No
work
kidding.
hard, and I love being a lawyer. And by the way, I still get to be part of the profession by teaching students at Georgetown Law School.
Oh, he's a teacher just like Dr. Jill Biden.
I got married, became a dad to Cole and Ella. Unfortunately, I went through a divorce, but eventually started worrying about how I would make it all work. And that's when something unexpected happened. In 2013, I walked into a contentious client meeting. We worked through the issue, and by the end of the meeting, the now happy client offered to set me up on a blind date, which is how I ended up with Kamala Harris's phone number.
Because nobody would date her if they saw her first?
Now, for generations, people have debated when to call the person you're being set up with. And never in history has anyone suggested 8:30 a.m. And yet, that's when I
called
dialed.
Kamala.
I got Kamala's voicemail, and I just started rambling. Hey, it's Doug.
What is that?
I'm on my way to an early meeting. Again, it's Doug. I remember I was trying to grab the words out of the air and just put them back in my mouth.
Who hires this guy as
And
their lawyer?
For what seemed like far too many minutes,
Wow.
I hung up. By the way, Kamala saved that voicemail, and she makes me listen to it on every anniversary.
Like you're rambling now.
But that message wasn't the only unusual thing about that day. Now, Kamala, who normally would have been working hard at her office, just happened to be waiting at her apartment for a contractor to do some work on her kitchen. I was eating at my desk, which was not a regular occurrence for a busy lawyer like me who appreciated a good business lunch. But that's when she called me back. And we talked for an hour, and we laughed. Well, you know that laugh. I love that laugh.
Oh, God. Oh, I see. That's what the story is. The story is to diffuse her laughter.
Maybe that counted as our first date. Or maybe it was that Saturday night when I picked her up and told her, buckle up, I'm a really bad driver. Because you can't hide anything from Kamala Harris, so you might as well own it. And as I got to know her better and just fell in love fast, I learned what drives Kamala. And it's what you've seen over these past 4 years, and especially these past 4 weeks. She finds joy in pursuing justice. She stands up to bullies just like my parents taught me to. And she likes to see people do well, but hates when they're treated unfairly. She believes this work requires a basic curiosity in just how people are doing.
I never realized
Her
what a doofus this guy actually
her
is.
Strength.
Wow. I would never give this guy money to
Over
represent
the
me
past decade,
in any
Kamala
legal
has
matter.
connected me more deeply to my faith.
Wow.
Even though it's not the same as hers. She comes to synagogue with me for high holiday services.
Oh, there goes
I go to church with her for Easter.
There goes the pro-Palestinian
I get
vote.
to enjoy her mom's chili relleno recipe every Christmas, and she makes a mean brisket for Passover. It brings me right back to my grandmother's apartment in Brooklyn. You know, the one with the plastic-covered couches. But Kamala has fought against anti-Semitism and all forms of hate her whole career. She's the one who encouraged me, as second gentleman, to take up that fight, which is so personal to me. And those of you who belong to blended families know that they can be a little complicated. But as soon as our kids started calling her Mamala, I knew we'd be okay.
I don't need that. I don't need
Ella, Ella calls us a three-headed parenting machine. Kamala and Kirsten, thank you both. Thank you both for always putting your family and the kids first.
By girls, Gene.
Now, Cole and Ella's friends knew that when they come over for Sunday dinner with Mamala, it was going to be real talk. In between taking cooking instructions, they'd have to answer questions about what problem they wanted to solve in the world. They learned that you've always got to be prepared because Kamala is going to prosecute the case. And in the same breath that Cole and Greenlee told us that they were engaged, they asked Kamala to officiate their wedding.
That's exactly, someone called it.
And in the same way that she always steps up when it matters, Kamala put so much time into those remarks, and she bound them in a book that matched her dark red dress, and then turned that into a gift for the happy couple. A few days ago, during this incredible time we're going through, there was a brief window when Kamala was back at home. And I saw her sitting on her favorite chair, and in the middle of a wild month, I just hoped that she was having a quiet moment to herself. But then I realized she was on the phone. Of course, my mind went to all the potential crises.
If this guy pushes us over midnight, I'm going to be mad.
Was it domestic? Was it
We got two
foreign?
Obamas to go,
Was it
folks.
campaign? I could see she was focused. And
Come on,
all
someone
I knew
wrap him up.
was
Give
that
him the
it
signal.
must be something important.
Oh.
And it turns out it was. Ella had called her. That's Kamala. That's Kamala. Those kids are her priorities.
I don't know, that
and
story got lost
scene
on me.
was a
I wasn't really
perfect
paying attention then.
Map of her heart. She's always been there for our children, and I know she'll always be there for yours too.
Sure. I think I threw up a lot, Cheryl.
Kamala is a joyful warrior.
Oh my God.
It's doing for her country what she has always done for the people that she loves. Her passion will benefit all of us when she's our president. And here's the thing about joyful warriors. They're still warriors. And Kamala is as tough as it comes. Just ask the criminals, the global gangsters, and the witnesses before the Senate Judiciary Committee. She never runs from a fight. And she knows the best way to deal with a coward is to take him head on. Because we all know cowards are weak.
Take him head
on. And Kamala Harris
Bad
can
choice of words.
smell weakness.
Bad choice of words.
She doesn't tolerate any BS. You've all seen that look. And you know that look I'm talking about. That look is not just a meme. It reflects her true belief in honest and direct leadership. And it's also why she will not be distracted by nonsense. Kamala knows that in order to win, we cannot lose focus. America, in this election, you have to decide who to trust with your family's future. I trusted Kamala with our family's future. It was the best decision I ever made. This Thursday will be our 10th wedding anniversary.
My God, it's only been 10 years. This speech has been 10 years.
I know it means I'm about to hear that embarrassing voicemail again.
This story has
However,
been 10 years long.
That's not all
Holy
I'll be
cow.
hearing. That same night, I'll be hearing my wife, Kamala Harris, accept your nomination for President of the United States.
Are we
and
done?
with your help, she will lead with joy and toughness, with that laugh and that look, with compassion and conviction. She'll lead from the belief that wherever we come from, whatever we look like, we're strongest when we fight for what we believe in, not just against what we fear. Kamala Harris.
It was cute at first,
exactly
but
the
now
right
it's
person for me at an important moment in my life. And at this moment in our nation's history, she is exactly the right president.
Now
Thank
I know,
you so much.
Now I know why they moved him. So he was originally slated for Thursday before Kamala Harris's entrance. And I'm pretty sure I know now why they moved him off of Thursday. They did not want this story bringing down the crowd just before Kamala Harris was going to accept the nomination. They did not want that. So they moved him to, what's today? Tuesday night. I think that's exactly what happened. I'm pretty sure that's exactly what happened. And, good move on their part. Bravo. Because that story was, holy shnikes, that story was long and rambling.
Please welcome former First Lady
Here we go.
Michelle Obama.
All right, here come the Obamas. That means we're wrapped. Hopefully they'll both knock it out in 20 minutes. They don't like Kamala Harris and they don't want her to be the nominee, so this shouldn't take long. I feel like probably they're like, yeah, 20 minutes, we're good. Michelle, you take 10, I'll take 10. And she's like, I got 5. I'll take 5, you take 15. You guys.
Thank you, guys. Okay. We got a big night ahead. Thank you all so much. Thank you so much. Okay. Hey. Hello, Chicago. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
She sounds really enthusiastic, doesn't she? Yeah.
Something wonderfully magical is in the air, isn't it?
Weed.
Yeah.
That's weed.
You know, we're feeling it here in this arena, but it's spreading all across this country we love.
They're stoned.
A familiar feeling that's been buried too deep for far too long.
Because of Joe Biden.
You know what I'm talking about. It's the contagious power of hope.
Hope. Oh, we're bringing back hope and change. I got it.
The anticipation, the energy, the exhilaration of once again being on the cusp of a brighter day. The chance to vanquish the demons of fear, division, and hate that have consumed us and continue pursuing the unfinished promise of this great nation, the dream that our parents and grandparents fought and died and sacrificed for. America, hope is making a comeback. Yeah.
You know what's so funny about all this is that the Democrats are currently in power. They have the presidency. They have the Senate.
But
so there's no hope with Joe Biden? Is that what she's saying?
To be honest, I am
crazy.
realizing that until recently, I have mourned the dimming of that hope. And maybe you've experienced the same feelings. Is that deep pit in my stomach?
Yikes.
A palpable sense of dread about the future. And for me, that mourning has also been mixed with my own personal grief.
Oh.
The last time I was here in my hometown was to memorialize my mother.
Oh, it's like dead mom
The
night.
woman who showed me the meaning of hard work and humility
This
and
is like the fourth
decency.
dead mother story.
The woman who set my moral compass high.
Kamala,
and showed
Anna
me
Navarro,
the power of my own voice.
Michelle Obama. There was another dead mother.
Folks,
holy cow.
I still feel her loss so profoundly. I wasn't even sure if I'd be steady enough to stand before you tonight, but my heart compelled me to be here because of the sense of duty that I feel to honor her memory and to remind us all not to squander the sacrifices our elders made to give us a better future. You see, my mom, in her steady, quiet way, lived out that striving sense
Kenneth.
of hope every single day of her life.
I've got nipples, Greg. Can
She
you milk
believed
me?
that all children, all people have value, that anyone can succeed if given the opportunity. She and my father didn't aspire to be wealthy. In fact, they were suspicious of folks who took more than they
God,
needed.
these are both snoozers.
They understood that it wasn't enough for their kids to thrive if everyone else around us was drowning.
Last night was
my mother
long, but
volunteered
it's just
at the
this seems
local
longer
school.
to me. I don't
She
know what it was.
always looked out for the other kids on the block. She was glad to do the thankless, unglamorous work that for
You
generations
guys are funny tonight,
has
by the way. You're making me
strengthened
laugh.
the fabric of this
I
nation.
appreciate that.
The belief that if you do unto others, if you love thy neighbor, if you work and scrape and sacrifice, it will pay off. If not for you, then maybe for your children or your grandchildren. You see, those values have been passed on through family farms and factory towns, through tree-lined streets and crowded tenements, through prayer groups and National Guard units and social studies classrooms. Those were the values my mother poured into me until her very last breath. Kamala Harris and I built our lives on those same foundational values. Even though our mothers grew up an ocean apart, they shared the same belief in the promise of this country. That's why her mother moved here from India at 19.
Jordan, thank you. $9.99 super
taught
chat.
Kamala about justice.
Appreciate it. Thank you so much.
About the obligation to lift others up. About our responsibility to give more than we take. She'd often tell her daughter, don't sit around and complain about things, do something. So, with that voice in her head, Kamala went out and she worked hard in school, graduating from an HBCU.
I'd rather talk than listen to
earning
this.
her law degree at a state school. And then she went on to work for the people, fighting to hold lawbreakers accountable, strengthening the rule of law, fighting to get folks better wages, cheaper prescription drugs, a good education,
Stay awake somehow.
decent health care,
Water.
child care, elder care. From a middle-class household, Kamala worked her way up to become Vice President of the United States of America.
Did she work her way up or did she work her way down? I feel like she worked her way down. She was so unsuccessful in the campaign
Been ready for this
that they
moment.
chose her because she wasn't able to.
She is one of
you
the
know,
most
soil her
qualified people
reputation.
ever to seek the office of the presidency.
I'm drinking LaCroix.
And
It's not beer. It's lime LaCroix.
she is one of the most
Bubbly
dignified.
water.
A tribute to her mother, to my mother, and to your mother too. The embodiment of the
Good job,
stories
Scott.
we tell ourselves about this country. Her story is your story. It's my story.
It's not my story.
It's the story of the vast majority of Americans trying to build a better life.
If it's anything like Doug's
Look,
story,
Kamala
it wasn't
knows,
mine. My
like
story
we
is way
do,
more interesting.
That regardless of where you come from, what you look like, who you love, how you worship, or what's in your bank account, we all deserve the opportunity to build a decent life.
Man.
All of our contributions deserve to be accepted and valued.
I forget. You know, I used to think that Michelle Obama, I guess, was a dynamic speaker, but I guess I was wrong about that. Or maybe she's
no one
not.
has
Or
a
maybe she doesn't
monopoly
actually
on
care
what it
about the
means to
speech.
be an
That
American.
could be it.
No one.
That could be it. Oh, Jen Salisbury, $4.99 super chat. I don't know why, but it is still bugging me that Kamala wore red to officiate a wedding.
Not by spewing anger and bitterness,
It's like Game of Thrones,
but by living
red
a
wedding.
life of service.
That's how they do it in California,
And always pushing the doors of opportunity open to others.
That's how they do it in California.
She
They don't want to be
that
traditional,
most of us
so
will
they'll wear
be
red
afforded
to a wedding.
The grace of
If they're-
failing
anyway, Jen,
forward.
thank you so much for the
We
$4.99
will never
super chat.
benefit
We appreciate that
from
very
the
much.
affirmative action of generational wealth.
The affirmative action of generational wealth.
If we bankrupt a business or choke in a crisis, we don't get a second, third, or fourth chance. If things don't go our way, we don't have the luxury of whining or cheating others to get further ahead. No. We don't get to change the rules so we always win.
That's
if we see a mountain
false.
in front of us, we don't expect there to be an escalator waiting to take us to the top. No.
Didn't she get like a $50 million deal from Netflix?
We
sorry.
get to work.
For
in America,
shows that didn't do anything?
We do something. And throughout her entire life, that's what we've seen from Kamala Harris.
Yeah, I need some generational wealth
The
too.
steel of her spine, the steadiness of her upbringing, the honesty of her example, and yes, the joy of her laughter and her light. It couldn't be more obvious. Of the two major candidates in this race, only Kamala Harris truly understands the unseen labor and unwavering commitment that has always made America great.
The unwavering commitment that has always made America great.
Now,
That's interesting.
unfortunately,
Oh, here's the unfortunate
we
part.
know what comes next.
Barack.
We know folks are going to do everything
Oh.
they can
Sorry, I
to
thought-
distort her truth.
Oh,
My
'Cause-
husband and I sadly know a little something about this.
that's hard to do.
For years, Donald Trump did everything in his power to try to make people fear us.
I mean, rightly so.
See, his
thank God.
limited, narrow view of the world made him feel threatened by the existence of two hardworking, highly educated, successful people who happen to be black.
Ah. There it is. There's the race baiting.
Wait,
There's the race baiting.
I want to know. I want to know. Who's going to tell him that the job he's currently seeking might just be one of those black jobs?
What was that woman doing?
Look, it's his same old con. His same old con. Doubling down on ugly, misogynistic, racist lies as a substitute for real ideas and solutions that will actually make people's lives better. Look, because cutting our health care, taking away our freedom to control our bodies, the freedom to become a mother through IVF like I did, those things are not going to improve the health outcomes of our wives, mothers, and daughters. Shutting down the Department of Education, banning our books, none of that will prepare our kids for the future.
I mean, I feel like
Demonizing our children for being who they are and loving who they love. Look,
I feel like
that
shutting
doesn't
down
make
the Department of
anybody's life
Education
better.
would actually do a lot. Also, maybe not letting your children pretend to be
Instead,
a gender that
it
doesn't
only
exist.
makes us small. And let me tell you this, going small is never the answer.
I thought going low was never the answer.
Going small is the opposite of what we teach our kids.
I thought it was going low,
Going
you go high,
small
that kind
is
of
petty,
stuff like that.
it's unhealthy, and quite frankly, it's unpresidential. So, why would any of us accept this from anyone seeking our highest office? Why would we normalize that type of backward leadership?
You know what's funny?
Doing so only demeans and cheapens our politics. It only serves to further discourage good, big-hearted people from wanting to get involved at all. America, our parents taught us better than that, and we deserve so much better than that. That's why we must do everything in our power to elect two of those good, big-hearted people. There is no other choice than Kamala Harris and Tim Walz. No other choice.
You know what's interesting to me about Michelle Obama is that she gives the speeches that neither her husband nor Kamala Harris could give.
Embrace this renewed sense of hope.
Oh, hang on.
Let us not forget the despair we have felt. Let us not forget what we are up against. Yes, Kamala and Tim are doing great now. We're loving it. They're packing arenas across the country. Folks are energized. We are feeling good. But remember, there are still so many people who are desperate for a different outcome, who are ready to question and criticize every move Kamala makes, who are eager to spread those lies, who don't want to vote for a woman.
That's ironic.
Who will continue to prioritize building their wealth over ensuring that everyone has enough.
Because they're not
so
communists.
No matter how good we feel tonight or tomorrow or the next day, this is going to be an uphill battle. So folks,
yeah, she's taking the whole 20 minutes, by the way.
Our own worst enemies. No. See, because the minute something goes wrong, the minute a lie takes hold, folks, we cannot start wringing our hands. We cannot get a Goldilocks complex about whether everything is just right.
Oh, like the porridge.
We cannot
it's a porridge thing.
Indulge our anxieties about whether this country will elect someone like Kamala instead of doing everything we can to get someone like Kamala elected.
You know what's so interesting? She's going to go home and do nothing until the election's over.
They have lived amazing lives. And I am confident that they will lead with compassion, inclusion, and grace. But they are still only human.
I wonder if they're getting paid to be here.
They are not perfect. And like all of us, they will make mistakes. But luckily, y'all, this is not just on them. No, this is up to us, all of us, to be the solution that we seek.
She's setting it
up
for
all of us to be the antidote to the darkness and division.
She's setting it up for you to know that Kamala Harris is going to make mistakes.
Politically, whether you're Democrat, Republican, Independent, or none of the above, this is our time to stand up for what we know in our hearts is right.
All right, that does it. That does it. I'm voting for Trump. I'm standing up for what I know is right.
Stand up, not just for our basic freedoms, but for decency and humanity, for basic respect, dignity, and empathy.
I feel like she's getting paid.
For the values at the very foundation of this democracy. It's up to us to remember what Kamala's mother told her. Don't just sit around and complain.
Her dead mother.
Do something.
No.
So, if they lie about her, and they will, we've got to do something.
What are you going to do?
If we see a bad poll, and we will, we got to put down that phone and do something.
What are you going to do?
If we start feeling tired, if we start feeling that dread creeping back in, we got to pick ourselves up, throw water on our face, and what?
What? But what?
We only have
what's the something you're going to do?
Y'all, to get this done. Only 11 weeks to make sure every single person we know is registered and has a voting plan.
A voting plan. Like a birthing plan.
We cannot afford for anyone,
well, they're not getting an abortion.
Anyone America to sit on their hands and wait to be called. Don't complain if no one from the campaign has specifically reached out to you to ask you for your support. There is simply no time for that kind of foolishness. You know what you need to do.
What is it that they need to do?
So,
they're never specific on action.
This to be your official ask. Michelle Obama is asking you, no, I'm telling y'all to do something.
They love the platitudes, but they don't actually have the plan. All these people are going to walk out of here today and they're going to go, all right, I'm going to go do something. And then they're going to go get a drink, and they're going to go home, and they're going to wake up tomorrow, and they're going to forget all about it. And number one is Michelle Obama.
This election is going to be close. In some states, just a handful, listen to me, a handful of votes in every precinct could decide the winner. So we need to vote in numbers that erase any doubt. We need to overwhelm any effort to suppress us. Our fate is in our hands. In 77 days, we have the power to turn our country away from the fear, division, and smallness of the past.
It's now 11, by the way.
We have the power to marry our hope with our action. We have the power to pay forward the love, sweat, and sacrifice of our mothers and fathers and all those who came before us. We did it before, y'all, and we sure can do it again. Let us work like our lives depend on it. And let us keep moving our country forward and go higher, yes, always higher than we've ever gone before as we elect the next president and vice president of the United States, Kamala Harris and Tim Walz. Thank you all. God bless.
You know, it's really interesting because, again, this is the same thing they always do. Hope, change, do something. But if you ask her, do what? She has no answers for you. She's not going to be able to tell you. If you say, hey, oh, there's more? Wait.
Before I go,
Oh, she's got to introduce Barack.
I have one more job tonight. Yeah. One more job.
She doesn't seem happy about it.
You all, thank you for all the love, but it is now my honor to introduce somebody who knows a whole lot about hope. Someone who has spent his life strengthening our democracy, and let me tell you, as someone who lives with him, he wakes up every day, and thinks about what's best for this country. Please welcome America's 44th president and the love of my life, Barack Obama.
So here's what's going to happen. They're going to leave, and they're going to go back to their mansion, and they're going to make their Netflix shows, and they're not going to do a damn thing to help Kamala Harris win. They didn't endorse her. They did a fake phone endorsement. This is the first time they've appeared anywhere in support of Kamala Harris and Tim Walz, and guess who's not there? Kamala Harris and Tim Walz. They said, we'll come to the DNC, but we're not going to come when Joe Biden's there, and we're not going to come when Kamala's there. And when they're done with this, oh, by the way, there's music, so I got to, when they're done with this, what's going to happen is, can you turn the music off? Because it's on. When they're done with this, what's going to happen is they're going to go back, and you're not going to see them at a campaign event. If they really wanted to do something, if they really wanted to help, they'd go out and they'd campaign for Kamala Harris. But they're done. They're done with the whole political system. They're private sector people now. They need you to watch their Netflix shows. They need you to listen to their podcasts or whatever it is. And they didn't want Kamala to begin with. That's why they didn't endorse her. That's why they're not going on the campaign trail. They feel like they owe her nothing. And in a way, I feel like they feel they'd be better with Donald Trump. But we'll get to that in a little while.
Chicago!
Okay.
It's good to be home. It is good to be home, and I don't know about you, but I'm feeling fired up.
Oh, gross. That's gross. He looked at his wife. That's disgusting. We don't need to know that.
I am feeling ready to go.
Keep that in the bedroom.
Even if I am the only person stupid enough to speak after Michelle Obama.
You know what's interesting is that, kind of annoying, is that they're so young, they're going to be at like 9 more of these. We're going to be seeing them at
feeling hopeful.
We're going to see them at the DNC for like at least 3 more DNCs.
Has always been pretty good to kids with funny names who believe in a country where anything is possible.
She does have a funny name, that's true. I mean, I'll give him that.
Because we have a chance to elect someone who has spent her entire life trying to give people the same chances America gave her. Someone who sees you and hears you and will get up every single day and fight for you. The next president of the United States of America, Kamala Harris.
Who are you pointing to? She's not there. He just pointed to an empty seat, which is probably, I mean, I'll be honest with you, the empty seat may actually do a better job.
It's been 16 years since I had the honor of accepting this party's nomination for president. And I know that's hard to believe because I have not aged a bit. But it's true. And looking back, I can say without question that my first big decision as your nominee turned out to be one of my best. And that was asking Joe Biden to serve by my side as vice president.
Oh, too late. You're not going to mend that fence. You're not going to rebuild that bridge. Joe Biden's done with you forever.
Other than some common Irish blood,
I'm sorry, Matt. All my
Joe
walls are
and
painted. I apologize.
come from different backgrounds,
I apologize.
but we became brothers. And as we worked together for 8, sometimes pretty tough years, what I came to admire most about Joe wasn't just his smarts, his experience.
His smarts?
It was his empathy
Oh.
and his decency and his hard-earned resilience.
Oh, okay.
His unshakable belief that everyone in this country deserves a fair shot. And over the last 4 years, those are the values America has needed most. At a time when millions of our fellow citizens were sick and dying, we needed a leader with the character to put politics aside and do what was right.
Bartram Frank,
At a
thank
time
you.
when our economy was reeling,
Thank you for the super chat.
we needed a leader with the determination to drive what would become the world's strongest recovery. 15 million jobs, higher wages, lower health care costs.
Bartram Frank.
At a
That was worth it.
time
That was worth $10.
when the other party
Thank you very much. We appreciate it.
had turned into a cult of personality,
Oh, that's a great song, by the way.
we needed a leader who was steady and brought people together and was selfless enough to do the rarest thing there is in politics, putting his own ambition aside for the sake of the country.
Guys, okay, Tater, thank you, Mark, for your humor and knowledge, and meeting you at the birthday party for
History
Flag Day was an honor.
We'll remember Joe
20
Biden
bucks.
as an outstanding president
Thank you, okay, Tater.
who defended democracy
Oh, you probably can't see it, but
at a
there it
moment
is.
of great danger. And I am proud to call him my president, but I am even prouder to call him my friend.
He's not your friend anymore, buddy. You stabbed him in the back, and he's not talking. He's not taking your phone calls anymore. You are not invited to Rehoboth Beach to hang out, oceanfront.
Now, the torch has been passed.
Oh, yeah.
Now it is up to all of us
To do something.
fight
Oh,
for the America we believe in.
to do something.
And make no mistake, it will be a fight.
Yeah.
For all the incredible energy we've been able to generate over the last few weeks, for all the rallies and the memes,
I feel like we have more
this
memes.
will still be a tight race in a closely divided country. A country where too many Americans are still struggling,
Thanks to Joe.
where a lot of Americans don't believe government can help.
Thanks to Joe.
And as we gather here tonight, the people who will decide this election are asking a very simple question. Who will fight for me? Who's thinking about my future, about my children's future,
Donald
about
Trump.
our future together? One thing is for certain, Donald Trump is not losing sleep over that question.
He knows it's him. He knows the answer.
Here's a 78-year-old billionaire who has not stopped whining about his problems since he rode down his golden escalator 9 years ago. It has been a constant stream of gripes and grievances that's actually been getting worse now that he's afraid of losing to Kamala.
I mean, when you've been falsely accused of 91 different felonies
There's the childish nicknames,
by your political opponent,
crazy
I feel like you can complain.
Theories, this weird obsession with crowd sizes.
He made a penis joke? I mean, they really probably need some new writers.
It just goes on.
They've got all of Hollywood in their back pocket. Why can't they get funnier jokes or new jokes?
The other day I heard someone compare Trump to the neighbor who keeps running his leaf blower outside your window every minute of every day. Now, from a neighbor,
Pretty sure Trump doesn't run his own leaf
that's
blower.
exhausting. From a president,
I don't think Barack Obama has any neighbors either.
it's just dangerous. The truth is, Donald Trump sees power as nothing more than it means to his ends. He wants the middle
That's
class to pay
ironic.
the price for another huge tax cut that would mostly help him and his rich friends.
Says the guy that went into
killed
Congress
a
or Senate
bipartisan
poor and is now a
immigration
multimillionaire. But
written
okay.
in part by one of the most conservative Republicans in Congress that would have helped secure our southern border because he thought trying to actually solve the problem would hurt his campaign.
It's false, but that's okay. We covered that yesterday. That was another Joe lie.
Do not boo.
Oh.
Vote.
Do not boo. Boo something. Isn't that what Michelle said? Boo something. Oh, right. It was do something.
He doesn't seem to care if more women lose their reproductive freedom since it won't affect his life.
Abortion.
And most of all, Donald Trump wants us to think that this country is hopelessly divided between us and them, between the real Americans, who of course support him, and the outsiders who don't. And he wants you to think that you'll be richer and safer
We will.
if you will just give him the power to put those other people back in their place.
Yeah. I'm okay with that.
It is one of the oldest tricks in politics from a guy whose act has, let's face it, gotten pretty stale.
Speak of the devil.
We do not need 4 more years of bluster and bumbling and chaos. We have seen that movie before, and we all know that the sequel is usually worse.
I'll be honest with you. That movie was pretty good. That movie was pretty
America's
good.
ready for a new chapter.
What was that guy doing? Was he taking his
America's
dentures
ready
out?
for a better story. We are ready for a President Kamala Harris.
Is he wrapping up? His volume and inflection went up.
And Kamala Harris is ready for the job.
Oh, no, there's more.
This is a person who has spent her life fighting on behalf of people who need a voice and a champion. As you heard from Michelle, Kamala was not born into privilege. She had to work for what she's got. And she actually cares about what other people are going through. She's not the neighbor running the leaf blower. She's the neighbor rushing over to help when you need a hand.
I feel like she's the blower. I feel like
prosecutor,
she's the
Kamala
blower.
stood up for children who had been victims of sexual abuse.
Thank you very much.
As an attorney general of the most populous state
There's the
in the
neighbor,
country,
and there's the leaf blower.
she fought big banks and for-profit colleges, securing billions of
Lucky
dollars
leaf.
for the people they had scammed. After the home mortgage crisis, she pushed me
sorry.
and my administration hard to make sure homeowners got a fair settlement. Didn't matter that I was a Democrat. Didn't matter that she had knocked on doors for my campaign in Iowa. She was going to fight to get as much relief as possible for the families who deserved it. As vice president, she helped take on the drug companies to cap the cost of insulin, lower the cost of health care, give families with kids a tax cut. And she is running for president with real plans to lower costs even more and protect Medicare and Medicaid and sign a law to guarantee every woman's right to make her own health care decisions.
I feel like she just annoys people into submission. I feel like that's kind of how she does it. Like if she's getting something done in Congress or in the Senate, rather, if she's getting something done in the courtroom, I feel like she just annoys the other side into quitting.
Kamala Harris
like, just please shut up. I'll give you whatever you want.
She'll be focused on yours. As president, she won't just cater to her own supporters and punish those who refuse to kiss the ring or bend the knee.
Like Joe Biden does?
She'll work on behalf of every American. That's who Kamala is. And in the White House, she will have an outstanding partner in Governor Tim Walz. Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. I love this guy.
He probably feels the same about
Tim
you.
is the kind of person who should be in politics. Born in a small town, served his country, taught kids,
You probably should
coached
stop bringing that
football,
up.
took care of his neighbors. He knows who he is, and he knows what's important. You can tell those flannel shirts he wears don't come from some political consultant. They come from his closet, and they have been through some stuff.
Oh. That is not.
They have been through some stuff. That's right.
That is not something I want to. I don't want to know what stuff his shirts have been through.
Together, Kamala and Tim have kept faith with America's central story.
Jordan Miller.
A story that says we are all created equal.
Thank you, Jordan. We appreciate the
all
$1.99
of us
super
endowed
chat.
with certain inalienable rights.
Keep them coming.
That
Keep them coming.
everyone deserves a chance. That even when we don't agree with each other,
Sorry, I can help.
we can find a way to live with each other.
I feel like
That's
Tim Walz.
Kamala's vision. That's Tim's vision.
I feel like Tim Walz could lose
That's
Minnesota
the
for
Democratic
Kamala
Party's
Harris.
vision.
Kamala Harris.
And our job over the next 11 weeks
yeah.
is to convince
To do something.
many people as possible to vote for that vision.
I feel like you shouldn't have to convince them. I feel like you should have a message
Now,
that
it won't be
convinces them.
easy.
We'll have to pass out a
The
lot
other
of cell
side
phones.
knows it's easier to play on people's fears and cynicism. Always has been.
I mean,
They will tell you that government is inherently corrupt.
Isn't that what Joe Biden did yesterday when he was
sacrifice and
screaming and
generosity
yelling
are
at
for
all these
suckers.
lies? I feel like that's their playbook.
Since the game is rigged, it's okay to take what you want and just look after your own. That's the easy path. We have a different task. Our job is to convince people that democracy can actually deliver.
Democracy can deliver. You know what can't?
And in doing that, we can't just
Communism.
point to what we've already accomplished. We can't just rely on the ideas of the past. We need to chart a new way forward to meet the challenges of today. And Kamala understands this. She knows, for example, that if we want to make it easier for more young people to buy a home, we need to build more units and clear away some of the outdated laws and regulations that made it harder to build homes for working people in this country. That
Clear
is
out
a priority.
resolutions
and she's
or
put out
regulations.
a bold new plan to do just that.
Make it easier to construct things. Where have I heard that before? Oh, right. That's Donald Trump's platform.
On health care, we should all be proud of the enormous progress that we've made through the Affordable Care Act, providing millions of people access to affordable coverage, protecting millions more from unscrupulous insurance practices. I noticed, by the way, that since it's become popular, they don't call it Obamacare no more.
I mean, I'll be happy to call it Obamacare. I feel like we call it Obamacare.
Kamala knows we can't stop there, which is why she'll keep working to limit out-of-pocket costs. Kamala knows that if we want to help people get ahead, we need to put a college degree within reach of more Americans. But she also knows college shouldn't be the only ticket to the middle class.
It's not.
We need to follow the lead of governors like Tim Walz, who said, if you've got the skills and the drive, you shouldn't need a degree to work for state government. And in this new economy, we need a president who actually cares about the millions of people all across this country who wake up every single day to do the essential, often thankless work, to care for our sick, to clean our streets, to deliver our packages. We need a president who will stand up for their right to bargain for better wages and working conditions. And Kamala will be that president.
I don't feel like she will. I don't feel like there's anything in her past or present that has proven that any of that is something she's capable of or desirous of. Donald Trump's the only one who mentions any of that stuff. Oh, no, they're pulling out, yes, she can? Oh, no.
Yes, she can. A Harris-Walz administration can help us move past some of the tired old debates that keep stifling progress. Because at their core, Kamala and Tim understand that when everybody gets a fair shot, we are all better off. They understand that when every child gets a good education, the whole economy gets stronger. When women are paid the same as men for doing the same job, all families benefit. They understand that we can secure our borders without tearing kids away from their parents. Just like we can keep our streets safe
Wait
while
1
also
minute.
building trust between law enforcement and the communities they serve and eliminating bias. That will make it better for everybody.
That's the pot calling the kettle black, by the way. And that's not a racist comment. That's just a comment.
Donald
Who
Trump
do I hear
and
talking?
his well-heeled donors, they don't see the world that way.
I hear somebody talking.
For them, one group's gains is necessarily another group's loss. For them, freedom means that the powerful can do pretty much what they please, whether it's fire workers trying to organize a union or put poison in our rivers or avoid paying taxes like everybody else has to do.
Wasn't it Joe Biden who put poison in the river?
Well, we have a broader
Wasn't
idea
East
of
Palestine Pete Buttigieg's thing?
We believe in the freedom to provide for your family if you're willing to work hard. The freedom to breathe clean air and drink clean water and send your kids to school without worrying if they'll come home. We believe that true freedom gives each of us the right to make decisions about our own life, how we worship, what our family looks like, how many kids we have, who we marry. And we believe that freedom requires us to recognize that other people have the freedom to make choices that are different than ours. That's okay.
Abortion, by the way.
That's
when he says how many kids we have, it means how many abortions we can have.
An America where we, the people, includes everyone. Because that's the only way this American experiment works. And despite what our politics might suggest, I think most Americans understand that. Democracy isn't just a bunch of abstract principles and dusty laws in some book somewhere. It's the values we live by.
Which book is that?
It's the way we treat each other, including those who don't look like us.
Alana, I agree.
Or
He's not
pray
as
like us,
he's not as
or
great
see the
tonight as I
world
would have thought.
Exactly like we do.
This is kind of a letdown. I'm trying to think. Tomorrow's Bill and Tim Walz and Nancy Pelosi. Tomorrow's going to be fire, y'all.
That sense
Tomorrow's
of
going to
mutual
be fire.
respect has to be part of our message. Our politics have become so polarized these days that all of us across the political spectrum seem so quick to assume the worst in others.
I mean,
unless they agree with us on every single issue. We start thinking that the only way to win is to scold and shame and out-yell the other side.
I mean, I feel like we learned
And
that
after
from
a while,
watching you.
regular folks just tune out. Or they don't bother to vote.
Got to do something.
Now that approach may work.
Got to do
For
something.
the politicians who
Here it
just
comes.
want attention.
Got to do
and
something.
thrive on division. But it won't work for us.
No, you got to do something. Here it
To
comes.
make progress on the things we care about. The things that really affect people's lives.
Got to do something.
We need to remember that we've all got our blind spots and contradictions and prejudices. And that if we want to win over those who aren't yet ready to support our candidates, we need to listen to their concerns and maybe learn something in the process. After all,
didn't he spend the first 20 minutes of this speech calling Donald Trump
if a
names?
parent or grandparent occasionally says something that makes us cringe, we don't automatically assume they're bad people. We recognize that the world is moving fast, that they need time and maybe a little encouragement to catch up. Our fellow citizens deserve the same grace we hope they'll extend to us. That's how we can build a true Democratic majority. One that can get things done.
Yo, that's right.
And by the way, that does not just matter to the people in this country. The rest of the world is watching to see if we can actually pull this off.
Yeah. They're petrified of Donald Trump returning to power. That's
No
true.
nation-
I'll agree with you there. He's got a lot of folks that
No
want Kamala to win.
society has ever tried to build
Russia,
a democracy as big,
North Korea,
and as
Iran.
diverse as ours before.
Who else? Hamas and
One that
Hezbollah,
includes people that over
Syria.
decades
They all want.
have come
They all
from
want
every corner
Kamala
of
to
the
win.
globe.
China.
One where our allegiances and our community are defined not by race or blood, but by a common creed. And that's why when we uphold our values, the world's a little brighter. When we don't, the world's a little dimmer.
I think he's a little dimmer.
Dictators and autocrats feel emboldened.
Joe Biden's a little dimmer.
And over time, we become less safe. We shouldn't be the world's policeman, and we can't eradicate every cruelty and injustice in the world.
I don't know if he does or not.
But America can be and must be a force for good.
I feel like
Discouraging conflict, fighting disease.
I feel like he's not really
promoting
going
human
anywhere with
rights,
this speech.
protecting the planet from climate change, defending freedom, brokering peace. That's what Kamala Harris believes, and so do most Americans.
This is making me miss Doug Emhoff. Doug Emhoff at least told a story. This is just the same speech he's given for 16 years. I think I've heard this speech several times.
I know these ideas.
I'm
feel
hanging
pretty
in,
naive.
folks. Hang in with me. I'm hanging in.
We live in a time of such confusion and rancor.
Confusion and
With a
rancor.
culture that puts a premium on things that don't last.
Sounds like a law firm.
Money,
Confusion and
fame,
rancor.
status,
Attorneys at law.
likes. We chase the approval of strangers on our phones.
Speaking of which, I just got to.
We build all manner of
DM.
walls and fences around ourselves, and then we wonder why we feel so alone. We don't trust each other as much because we don't take the time to know each other. And in that space between us, politicians and algorithms teach us to caricature each other.
Oh, dig on big tech.
Control each other. And fear each other.
Yeah, this is a snooze fest. At least Joe
But here's
yelled.
the good news, Chicago.
At least
All
Joe yelled.
across America, in big cities and small towns, away from all the noise, the ties that bind us together are still there. We still coach Little League and look out for our elderly neighbors.
You don't do either of those
We
things.
still feed the hungry in churches and mosques and synagogues and temples. We share the same pride when our Olympic athletes compete for the gold. Because the vast majority of us do not want to live in a country that's bitter and divided.
So stop dividing it.
We want something better. We want to be better. And the joy and the excitement that we're seeing around this campaign tells us we're not alone. You know, I've spent a lot of time thinking about this these past few months because, as Michelle mentioned, this summer we lost her mom, Ms. Marion Robinson.
Dead mom night.
And I don't know that anybody has ever loved their mother-in-law any more than I love mine. Mostly it's because she was funny and wise and the least pretentious person I knew.
And he knows a lot of pretentious
and she
people.
always defended me
So
with
that's
Michelle
it.
when I messed up. I'd hide behind her.
I believe that. I believe that.
But I also think one of the reasons Mary and I became so close was she reminded me of my grandmother, the woman who helped raise me as a child.
Dead grandmother.
And on
Dead
the
mom,
surface,
dead grandmom.
the two of them did not have a lot in common. One was a black woman from right here, south side of Chicago, right down the way. Went to Englewood High School. The other was a little old white lady born in a tiny town called Peru, Kansas.
This is the problem with these elites.
I know there aren't that many people from Peru.
They just feel like they can just meander and talk
And
about
yet they
anything at all
shared
with no point whatsoever.
a basic outlook on life. They were strong, smart, resourceful women, full of common sense, who, regardless of the barriers they encountered, and women growing up in the 40s and 50s and 60s, they encountered barriers. They still went about their business without fuss or complaint and provided an unshakable foundation of
I thought
love
we were
for
wrapping
their
up,
children and their
but
grandchildren.
I don't think we are. I thought we were getting near the end.
In that sense, they both
Now there's
represented
dramatic pauses.
an entire generation.
I don't bring Bernie
working
Sanders
people.
back if you're just going to pause.
Through war and depression,
give me somebody who's going to say something.
discrimination and limited opportunity.
Bring
helped
back
build
Kathy
this
Hochul for crying out loud. Holy cow.
A lot of them toiled every day at jobs that were often too small for them and didn't pay a lot. They willingly went without just to keep a roof over their families' heads, just to give their
rock.
children something better.
Obama speech is dreadful.
But they knew what was true.
At least Joe
They knew
yelled
what mattered.
to make it interesting.
Things like honesty and integrity, kindness and hard work.
Guys.
They weren't impressed
Here's
with
Kamala
braggarts
Harris
or
watching
bullies.
Doug Emhoff
They
on her
didn't think
computer
putting other people down
on the plane or
lifted you
whatever.
up or made you strong. They didn't spend
She's
a lot
watching
of time
Doug
obsessing
Emhoff
about
and
what
his
they didn't
creepy
have.
speech on
Instead,
the plane.
they appreciated what they did. They found pleasure in simple things. A card game with friends.
It's
A
so
good
bad.
meal and laughter around the kitchen table.
Oh my God, with the card games on the kitchen table.
Helping others.
Guys, I'm going to start reading you some jokes.
And most of all, seeing their children do things and go places that they would have never imagined for themselves.
This is horrible. Knock, knock.
Whether you are a Democrat or a Republican or
Doris.
somewhere in between.
Doris
we
locked.
have
That's
all
why I'm
had
knocking.
People like that in our lives.
This is dreadful.
People like Kamala's parents.
This is horrible.
Crossed
We're in
because
we're
they
in it
believed
now, though. I mean,
in
we're
the
like
promise of America.
we are so
People
we are
like Tim's
so
parents
into this. We're
who
so
taught him
it's
about the importance of service.
the sunk cost. Yes, we should just turn it off and all go to bed.
Good,
but I feel like I've invested 35
who
minutes in
weren't
this stupid
famous
speech.
Or powerful,
I just would feel like a
but who
quitter at this
managed
point.
in countless ways.
You know, it's like
lead
it's
this
like
country
I don't know if you
just a
ever
little
pledged a
bit
fraternity or
better
whatever.
than
It's
they
like
found
Hell Week. You know, you don't want to. You're like just one more day, just one more
As
day, and
much
I'll get
as
through,
any
and it'll be
policy
brighter on the other
or
side.
Program.
You know, it's just I'm just waiting.
believe that's
It's
what
like
we're
waiting
here
for
for.
Christmas when you're a kid. You're like
A return to an
December is
America
such a
where we
long,
work
horrible,
together
boring month. I just got to get to
and
Christmas
look out for each other.
or your birthday or whatever. It's
A
horrible.
restoration
Oh God, he's
of
talking about
what
restoration.
Lincoln called on the eve of Civil War our bonds of affection.
Oh, this is awful.
An America that taps what he called the better angels of our nature.
Commit Harry Carey here.
That is what this election is about.
Harry Berry is what I'm
And
going
I
to commit.
believe that's why if we each do our part over the next 77 days, if we knock on doors,
Yeah, what
if
is
we
he even
make
talking
phone
about? I agree with you.
calls,
I'm going to be
if
honest
we
with you.
talk to our
Usually I can
friends,
follow, no matter how
if
bad.
we listen to our neighbors,
No matter how bad these speeches
If
are.
we
Hi, Becky. Thank you
work
from Palm
like
Beach, Florida.
we've never worked
no matter how
before,
much bad these speeches are, I'm always able to
if
at
we
least follow along.
hold firm to our convictions,
And I feel like this is just him rambling.
we will elect Kamala Harris as the next president of the United States.
I can't imagine this is
And
actually
Tim Walz
on the
as
teleprompter.
next vice president of the United States. We will elect leaders up and down the ballot who will fight for the hopeful, forward-looking America we all believe in. And together, we too will build a country that is more secure
I think
and
we're
more
done.
just, more equal, and more free.
And more on.
So let's get to work. God bless you.
Oh, okay.
And God bless the United States of America.
Oh, that was so painful. Guys, that was so awful. Listen. Wow. Thank you guys. Thank you guys for hanging. All right. So I'm going to go because that was just the worst. I apologize. But you guys could have left it. I wasn't holding you hostage or anything. Tomorrow, noon, we're going to recap, not that, but we'll recap some other stuff. We'll get to the news. And then tomorrow night, Bill Clinton, Tim Walz, Nancy Pelosi. Hopefully it'll be a little teeny tiny bit more exciting than that snooze fest. Look, I love all you guys. Thanks so much for hanging with me, and we'll talk to you soon.